Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I'm your host Peter and I'm joined by Alan. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Peter. How's you? Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Alan. Happy New Year to all our listeners. This is our first episode of the new year.
Yeah.
We're going to be breaking down The Rise of Skywalker, which is in cinemas. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you have not seen The Rise of Skywalker yet, pause this podcast now. Don't spoil it for yourself. Get yourself to the cinema, buy a ticket, go watch it, then come back, press play, and listen to us talk about it. How was New Year for you, Alan? It's been a good New Year?
It was a good New Year. It was a really good Christmas. Got home, saw the family. It was really good. And you?
Yeah, mate, it was good. Obviously, I was working quite a bit during it. Obviously, managed to fit in a few Rise of Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Managed to fit 4 in. But yeah, it was good. Good to spend time with the family. Good New Year. I'm looking forward to pushing the podcast on this year as well.
Cool.
So I think let's just dive straight in.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's just start with the start of the movie, which obviously any Star Wars saga movie is the opening crawl. So I'm just going to dissect the crawl with yourself, and then we'll just go straight from there into the movie.
Right.
So obviously, we get Star Wars, we get Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and the first line is "The dead speak," and then we dive straight into a few little sentences about how there's been transmissions, messages, whispers from a Phantom Emperor, Palpatine, saying he's going to come back and control the galaxy, and everybody should be scared. So just to break down this first bit, for me, I mean, when the first, obviously, we were at Celebration when sort of, obviously, the Emperor's laugh was at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
So there'd been talk for a few months before that about, like, the Emperor coming back. And there were some people who were like, oh, yeah, I can't wait. The Emperor's, like, the only one for me. And I was a bit like, for me, I don't mind. I don't really have too many expectations when I go into a movie. But the idea of the Emperor returning did scare me in a way where, obviously, like in the old EU, like Emperor's got loads of clones and that. And for me, like that does diminish like the efforts of our characters who were known and loved from the original trilogy. Like do you know what I mean? It's like, oh well, did they really win? Because there's loads of these clones running around. Emperor just clones himself and puts himself a new body every time he dies.
Yeah, that set herself up for a bit of a balancing act there to get it right.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I loved about this sort of bit in the crawl it was like, is he back? Is he not? Is it, for me, it was like these messages going out across the galaxy.
Yeah.
These messages could be, someone could have made them, like using old messages of the Emperor just to play games with people.
Yes. That's what I thought, actually. That's literally what I thought when I read the crawl.
Yeah, like, is it old messages just now playing all of a sudden? Or is it like a ghost of the Emperor sort of trying to control the galaxy, sending these transmissions out? Because he can't be across the galaxy, he can only be wherever his ghost is. So I like that. It was quite ambiguous. I enjoyed that. It was like, it wasn't like he is here. It was a bit like, well, is he here? Is he not? What actually is the situation?
Yeah.
Sort of you're going to find out in this movie, hopefully, but we're not going to tell you right off the bat. And then straight from there goes into how, obviously, this has scared the Resistance. It's scared General Organa. So Leia has sent our top agents out into the field to meet up with spies to get information about whether this is true or not.
Yeah.
And then it also dives straight into a bit about, it mentions Rey, and obviously she's finishing her training with Leia. Which is close to finishing her training now. And then the last bit, which I do love, is talks about Kylo, how he's heard these transmissions as well. So, I mean, again, it's setting up where like these transmissions are out there, but like obviously the First Order aren't behind these transmissions.
No,
because he would know about it. So it's a bit like, it's almost like you've now got three powers in this movie, where you've got the First Order, you've got the First Order, you've got the Resistance, and then you've got whoever's responsible for this mysterious message from the Emperor.
Yeah.
So, and obviously Kylo's angry that this ghost from the past is now claiming it's going to rule the galaxy because he wants to rule the galaxy.
And you can't blame him, really, because when you go to the last film, he's done his job. He's kicked everybody's arse. He's won the day. He's got the galaxy. And now all of a sudden, Emperor's coming back. Like, no, hold on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, one of the things I loved about The Last Jedi was that obviously Kylo did the one thing that Anakin probably never dreamed of doing, and that was he killed his master and took control.
Yeah.
even though they say like Snoke and Kylo like aren't Sith Lords, like he did follow the rule of two there. Like it was one to hold the power and one to crave the power. Where like in Palpatine and Anakin's relationship, it's in all the books and Lords of the Sith. Anakin's sort of a sorry mess inside, and he's angry and sad, and Anakin really wishes he could go back and change events and not do the things he did.
Yeah.
Where Kylo is very much, well, I'm going to forge forward. Yes, do I agree I kill me dad? Don't know, but I've done it, and you know what it is, I'm gonna kill Snoke now and take the power from him.
Yeah.
Because I may as well just keep going. So he's done the one thing that Anakin thought he never would. He's done the one really true Sith thing, I suppose, is that he's killed his master.
Yeah.
He's took control of the galaxy. And even when he did that, he decided, like, once he took control, he decided to still fire on the Resistance. He still went down to that Resistance base, and he still wanted to kill Luke Skywalker. So it wasn't as if he took control and then went, right, we're going to be peaceful now. He took control and then still went, you know, I'm going to go down there and cause hell.
Yeah.
So obviously now these messages of the past, a past that he says he wants to die. Remember last night he did go
let the past die. Yeah.
Kill it if you have to.
Yeah.
Yep. So now, guess what? Something else has come up from the past, these transmissions, and he says, I will go and kill it. I'll find it and I'll kill it.
Yeah. It would knock you, though. It really would. After all of that effort, and then all of a sudden you got to go, oh, God, I've got to go and do it again.
Yeah. So that's where our movie starts, really, is that we start off, obviously we pan down to space, and then we pan down to a planet's surface, which is Mustafar. So that is where Anakin and Vader fought in Revenge of the Sith. It's where Anakin was defeated.
Yeah.
And it is where Vader's castle, where Vader lived during the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And the events leading up the original trilogy. For me, it's a great scene. You see Kylo, he's gone down there looking for the Sith Wayfinder, which leads the way to where the Emperor could be. And basically, he goes down there with some troopers. I mean, he could just send the troopers in and they would take care of it. But no, he goes out himself and he is wrecking shop. He's slicing people. He's using the Force on people. He's holding them in place while he cuts them. He's taking no prisoners and he's brutally killing people.
He is the Kylo Ren that I wanted to see in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to bring it up because for me, I was listening to Adam Driver talk about it. So just on that point there. So obviously, Adam Driver says that obviously in the original trilogy, Vader comes and Vader's badass at the beginning.
Yeah, his character had to develop, you know.
And then, so what happens to Vader is that throughout the original trilogy, things chip away at him and make him vulnerable. And then at the end, he obviously decides to help his son.
Yeah.
So he has the conflict at the end. So what Adam Driver is saying is that the way the role was sold to him, because obviously Adam Driver is probably the greatest actor of his generation at the moment, in my opinion. Obviously, how do you get an actor like that to star in? I mean, let's not be disrespectful, but like these are sort of silly sci-fi movies, silly fantasy movies. And I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world. Do you know what I mean? So it's something having to go. But it's hard to attach people, I suppose. I mean, people who are fans from the past or who want to be in the way it's to find cinema. Yes, people will want to join, but like you are dealing with things that aren't based in reality, so it is hard to get like big name actors attached. So obviously the way JJ sold it to Adam Driver was it's the opposite. We're going to start off with this vulnerable guy who's unsure of himself. And is he bad? Does he want to be bad? I mean, he is bad, but is he fully bad? And is he having second thoughts?
Yeah.
And then throughout this saga, throughout this trilogy, we're going to build them up. Where obviously in the original trilogy, it was Vader was strong and we built him down. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to have him in that bit of vulnerability at the beginning where Vader's journey ends, and then build him up. Which obviously in the Last Jedi, how that ends, he does kill Snoke, no problem. He doesn't have a second thought about that. Yeah. He has no second thoughts about firing on the Resistance. He has no second thoughts about going down there and facing Luke Skywalker. No. So he sort of has done the opposite of Vader, where like he started off sort of questioning himself, questioning his decisions. I do believe that when Han Solo is on the bridge and asks him to come home, in my opinion, I think he does think about it.
Yeah, me too. I do think so, yeah.
And it is a hard decision for him. He only makes the one that obviously everyone wants him to make, where he does the bad thing. But yeah, so I think Adam Driver is sort of I think he must have spoken about that like years ago, but I just watched that recently where he was talking about that, which I found very interesting. So we've got this Kylo Ren now where this Ben Solo who is the big bad.
Yeah.
So at that point now, he is in that position where he is wrecking shop, and I would say the scene is reminiscent of Vader in Rogue One when he's owning the rebels at the end.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
It's not quite as scary because it's not in a small corridor. People can't run away. But he's on this planet service and he's wrecking shop. He's brutally murdering these people.
Yeah.
All for the Sith Wayfinder, which he then finds. One thing for me, obviously, like for this movie, people talk about fan service and things like that. I think this movie, obviously, in the movie, I was like, that could be Mustafar. I think it might be a Mustafar.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I got the visual dictionary where it's like, this is Mustafar, where I was like, all right, it is Mustafar. If they had just put like a little shot in of the castle in the background, or just a long shot where it pulled away and you saw like the remnants of Vader's castle, then I would have went in the cinema. I would have like gasped, oh my God, it's Mustafar like in the cinema. And it wouldn't be over the top fan service because we're on Mustafar, so it should be there. So like, it's not as if you're plugging that in for the sake of plugging it in. Like, you're on that planet, that would be there, so you could do that, no problem. So for me, I just wish they'd put something like that in, because that would have really given me a great feel in the cinema.
Yeah, that whole opening sequence crawled very fast, though. You know, there was a lot of information, you know, that came at you. You know,
I mean, there was, but again, like, that information of Vivian Mustafar wasn't in the movie.
No, it wasn't.
So
I mean,
if they put that,
yeah,
if they put that, if they'd done the if they'd put the shot in of the castle or what was left of it, it made it look like a castle that anybody who's seen Rogue One or read the comics would go, that is Mustafar, and you could literally put it in. It would extend the runtime by 3 seconds. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, and it wouldn't have been, you know, as you say, fan service, but I wouldn't have never classed that as fan service. I would have classed that more as you're setting the scene that you're on Mustafar.
Well, yeah, that as well. So sort of, this movie's full of fan service, and I think like,
yeah,
I like fan service. It's not a problem, but I think like you had the perfect time to use it there, where it would like make sense. It would enhance the story, and it would set the scene for people who are watching to know where they are.
Yeah, and it would have slowed it down a little bit for me. I thought that whole opening section was a little bit too quick.
Yeah, I mean, straight away, like from that point there, obviously he picks up the Wayfinder, then he's in his TIE fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's racing across the galaxy using the Sith Wayfinder to get to, as we find out, a planet called Exegol.
Yeah. Which makes me think of Diesel. I don't know why, but it does.
Yeah. So he gets here and gets out his ship. He sort of walks into this sort of old, I don't know, sort of, it does feel very Sith-like, which obviously, as we'll find out, it is the home world. And obviously takes this lift down, and there's these old statues of old Sith Lords, I think. They look very Sith-like anyway.
Oh, the whole scene looked pretty awesome, like, it really did.
Yeah, so for this scene, for me, I love the scene. I love the architecture.
Mm-hmm.
And then straight away, the Emperor's in his head. You can hear him talking.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's a bit like, Snoke has trained you well. And he's like, I killed Snoke. And then Palpatine's like, I created Snoke.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see a sort of a tank in the background with some like fake Snoke bodies in.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Which it was really cool, but like, again, I'm just like, you're showing me this stuff that like we've spent no time explaining.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a movie where you could have explained that, but like, we've had so many books in between The Last Jedi and this movie where you could have at least hinted at something like that, and they've not at all.
Yeah.
So for me, that was quite strange, but still, like, I thought, let's just take it as fact. I mean, the Emperor could be lying, but the fact that he's sort of showing you those bodies means he's probably not.
Yeah.
So we sort of see those dead Snokes. Palpatine says he's been the voice inside every voice he's ever heard, and it sort of plays the Snoke voice, and it sort of plays Vader's voice as well.
Yeah.
As if he's been taught. So I think pretty much the Emperor's been chatting to him, pretending to be Vader.
Mm.
So when you see him in The Force Awakens, he's talking to that mask. Obviously, you never hear the mask talk back.
And that totally makes sense to me. It totally bothered me all the way through the other films. That, I mean, I didn't realize it bothered us until I actually heard the Emperor say that. But it bothered us that Kylo could be talking to Darth Vader. Well, when Darth Vader died, he was back to being Anakin Skywalker. He turned into a first Force ghost and he was a good guy. Therefore, he was no longer Darth Vader. So how the hell could he be talking to Darth Vader?
Well, I always thought, because obviously they never played the audio of Vader talking back, so it was one of those things where, like, is Kylo Ren imagining this?
Yeah, that's kind of where I got, yeah.
Or is something speaking to him, pretending to be? So, like, my friend Brian Balance, we chatted about this for over a year now, where we were like, we think that something's speaking to him and it's pretending to be Vader.
Yeah.
And obviously he doesn't know any better. And, like, who's he to question this ghostly voice type of thing? So, and obviously, if it was Palpatine who was pretending to be Vader, Palpatine knows Vader very well, so he probably could impersonate him very well.
Yeah.
And even if he didn't, still, like, Kylo Ren never met Darth Vader, so you wouldn't be able to notice if Vader said something that Vader wouldn't say, because he didn't know him as well.
True. Very true. Yeah.
So yeah. So at that point with it, so it goes to Exegol, and we then see the Emperor's face type of thing. I love the cinematography here, where it's like, it's dark, it's lightning and flashing, and it's like the Emperor's face almost changes every time the light shines on it, every flash of lightning, and the camera changes angle. It was very horror movie-esque.
It was, wasn't it? You know, like a Hammer horror type thing.
Yeah, which I enjoyed. I thought, like, if this is the big evil and this is going to be the bad guy of the movie, like, make him look terrifying. And you've done that using, like, some simple but very effective cinema techniques, which was great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was absolutely amazing. I was very surprised that they brought the Emperor in so soon.
Well, that was one for me where I was like, again, I was talking about how ambiguous the Crow was, sort of mentioned, like, is he back, is he not?
Yeah.
And I was hoping for that to be like a reveal down the line.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be something they found out at the end. I was very surprised to find them right at the beginning, but it was kind of like, okay, let's see where this goes, you know?
Yeah, and obviously, like, he mentions those voices in his head, and, like, for me, I'm surprised that didn't piss Kylo Ren off, where he's like, I'm going to kill you because you've made it in your life.
Yeah.
The same as Luke Skywalker tried to manipulate it, the same as your mum and dad tried, the same as Snoke tried, and now you've just admitted that you've tried to manipulate my life.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kill you as well. But obviously, it does make sense why he doesn't, I think, because if you think about it, obviously Palpatine mentions Rey, and he mentions that he wants him to go and kill the girl. Obviously, we know that Kylo Ren, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't say love, but we do know that he has a, what would the word be?
I think he understands that there's a higher power. You know what I mean?
Well, I think he's addicted
into it.
Well, I think he's addicted to her because, like, she's a fellow Force user who understands the burden of that and the difficulties that come with that. She's obviously met Luke Skywalker. She's met Han Solo and things like that. So she is sort of linked to his past and sort of understands where he comes from and understands the things he goes through.
Yeah.
So I think he is sort of, and I think he does want to, when he asked that to take his side in The Last Jedi, like that was genuine. He did want her to take.
I think so, yeah. I think he genuinely cares for her. I think he has all the way through, you know?
Yeah, so I think at that point where he says, go and kill Rey, I think this is where he is like, oh, he tells the Emperor, obviously, yes, I will go and kill her. But in his mind, he's like,
nah.
But there's a good opportunity to find her and give her this information, and then she'll be like thankful because I've told her the truth and not the crack, and then me and her can deal with this together type of thing. It's giving him a second chance at, like, trying to, I wouldn't say be with, because again, at this point, I'm not saying it's romantic, but there's definitely a connection there.
Yeah.
It's definitely sort of, I don't know.
There's like, definitely a feeling and emotion that he's trying to deal with that he can't understand. That's what I took from it, you know?
Yeah, so obviously, he tells the Emperor he's going to do it, and then he fucks off. So obviously, it was quite weird. I thought Exegol was quite strange. For me, it was, again, that's like a new planet that we're meant to believe's been there forever, but like it didn't really give him much information. So I don't know if you've seen him at this point in the movie, but obviously those, like, all the stands are, I would call it, there's like an arena, isn't it, where he is?
Yeah.
So like those stands are full of people.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So those are like Sith cultists. It tells you in the visual dictionary. But I mean, again, so this is not explained in the movie. So these are Sith cultists.
Yeah.
Which for me, I think like anybody watching it could be like, oh, they're just all Sith Lords, them. And, like, for all intents and purposes, if you didn't read the book, like, it could be. But also they're Sith cultists who've lived there for a long, long time.
Yeah, minions, basically.
On Exegol, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they do tie into, is it the Acolytes of, what were they called in the Aftermath trilogy?
Now you've got it.
Is it Acolytes of the Apocalypse or something?
Something like that. Don't quote us, but it is something like that.
So the tie into that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got these sort of, and then let's just talk about Exegol. Obviously, I know it's sort of, these are facts that haven't happened in the movie, but this is going to be like an all-over review, guys. So
yeah,
just bear with me. We'll talk about the points as they come up. So obviously, Exegol for me has been like Exegol, and I haven't heard this before because I hadn't heard the name before, and it's not been in any books leading up to it or even hinted at.
No. Yeah.
So, and obviously, we do have like Moraban and Malachor as Sith worlds already in canon.
Yeah.
So, and I thought Moraban was the home of the Sith.
I thought that's where they were going. Honestly, you know what I mean?
Like, so did I, but then they branded this word Exegol. So I was a bit like, well, I get that one, the Sith world, but like, why wouldn't you just use the name that we've already got for it and tie it all together? Again, it's like, it's fan service, not fan service, but it's like, it's fan connection where that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
But obviously, thinking about it, obviously Moraban and Malachor are both known planets now. Obviously, no one goes on them, but like, so if the Sith were hiding there now, they probably would have been found by now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like Exegol's like ancient homeworld of the Sith, by the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm. Like the original.
Yeah. So I mean, we learn that they're called this Sith Eternal. It's what these people are on this planet, and it's where these Sith cultists, and they've been essentially, obviously, this Imperial fleet that we see come out. It's not an Imperial fleet, but it's like the Sith Eternal fleet. But they've been all those cultists who live there, all their children that they've had, have become soldiers and officers, and they've been building these, building this armada, in the planet, of Star Destroyers, and that's why they're hidden. So we go from there, and obviously, I think next we see the Falcon. I believe we cut to the Falcon where it's looking for these spies. So it's obviously like we find out that Leia's agents are Chewbacca, Poe, R2D2, and Finn.
Yeah.
And they've gone to this place which looks really cool. I don't know what it's actually called, but they go to this place to get information, and this guy gives them a transmission.
Yes, that's right.
He's received.
Yeah.
So I love the scene. The Falcon looks awesome, especially flying in the small spaces.
Yeah, that was some fancy flying.
Obviously, they get the transmission and they get out of there. They're being chased. We then learn about light speed skipping.
Yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with, but I don't know. I think, obviously, we've never seen it before.
It's a fantasy film. You've got to put fantasy in. You know,
definitely.
what I mean?
And then obviously we do see like the state the Falcon's in afterwards, where it's like that's probably why no one did it. Because it is on fire, and if a hand landed in had a crew to fix it, like it would have been gone.
Yeah, pretty much finished. Yeah,
but I love the scene. The Falcon's flying, awesome. And obviously, we do see a bit of obviously Rey talking with poor Dameron about it, and she's pretty angry that he's done it.
That was a good little scene, actually. It was quite well done.
Yeah, no, it's really good because Rey's been training at that point, and then it's weird because Rey's been training, running the assault course.
Yeah.
And at one point she gets very distracted, and it's the point where Ben is looking at the Darth Vader helmet. I believe he's back on his ship.
Yeah.
So he's obviously, and he's reaching out to her. So the Force bond is working a little bit there. Like we're from the Force bond from the Last Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's in play a bit there, and it distracts her.
I think so too. Yeah.
That's why she can't take out the remote and ends up stabbing it with the stick.
Yeah.
Because she's distracted by him. Do you know what I mean? So it goes show the connection's still there, and like obviously he is still on her mind. And obviously she drops the tree on BB-8. And that's when BB-8, and that's when Poe's like, "Well, you've destroyed BB-8." But yeah,
good little scene. It was good. It was a nice little argument. It was well placed as well because you just had a lot of information thrown at you, and I have to admit, even as I was getting to that, I was just like, God, I hope the rest of the film's not like this, because this is just too much, too fast, too quick. It's good, it's visually brilliant, but it's just too much, too quick. And then that scene came in, and you had a bit of a laugh, and then you actually managed to like get back into your seat a little bit, and then just calm on with the rest of the film.
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause that's one thing this film's got a problem, not a problem, but like one of the challenges the film had is obviously it's got to bring an end to the entire story of like 9 movies.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like it's a year later than the Last Jedi, so and obviously they've got this new bad. Obviously, the Emperor's now the bad guy, so it's like, but he's not been mentioned at all this trilogy. So it's like you've got to do all the groundwork with him. There's a lot of story to fit in, and then
Hell of a lot.
the movies coming at 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
Where you would think for that much story to fit in. I was expecting when I first heard how much we were going to be doing. I was thinking this is going to be like a Lord of the Rings type movie. It's going to be like 3 hours 20.
Yeah.
But obviously they haven't gone for that. And one thing about the movie I love is that like the movie's like a fast-paced action adventure. Do you know what I mean? So it's very fast-paced. It's very easy to enjoy.
You don't realise you've sat there for that whole time like that.
Yeah, the action sequences are really, really well done and presented in a really good way, but it's all neatly packaged. Yeah. So you're not sitting there thinking, I don't know, what time is it? Have I been here too long? Yeah. You never get time to think of that, which I think you might do if they made it longer. But I think because of that, they do sacrifice some information.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it all the way along, they've done that in every film. I mean, you read the books afterwards to fill in the blanks, and this film is no different. You know, that's part of the love of Star Wars, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we find out that they've got the transmission.
Mm-hmm.
We never see the information, but they have a briefing on the Resistance base. So obviously, Leia's spies or agents have been to see the spy. To get the message from the spy. And it's on. I think it's Agent Kloss. Is this rebel base? It's very foresty. At first, I thought it could be Forest Moon of Endor, and then I thought it could be Yavin 4.
I thought it was going to be Yavin 4. I really did.
Yeah, but it's a place called Agent Kloss. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And it was scouted as a rebel base back in the day, as a lot of these bases are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we then find out Poe says the Emperor has returned. Somehow the Emperor has returned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit like, doesn't really tell how or why he's returned. It's just like, he's just back, mate. And that's pretty much the only explanation we're getting the whole movie, which again, I was a bit like, are you really doing this? Are you really just going to tell why he's returned? But like, that is the case. So again, I just got on board, like, he's back. Let's just take it that he's back. He said he's back. And then we're going to enjoy the movie. But yeah, for me, it was a little bit like, I mean, like, we're quite a positive podcast, but like, I'm still going to talk about the things I didn't like. And for me, that was something that I didn't like. And it's reminiscent of lazy writing.
For me, because I had a lot of thought on this afterwards. I had a 6.5 hour drive back up home. You know what I mean? And like the next day, and so I spent a lot of time thinking on this. And yeah, I did find it a bit lazy, and yeah, I did find it a bit knocking. But I also found it very clever on Disney's part. And I'll say this for the entire film all the way through, and we're going to pick up on a lot of these points. But for me, it was kind of like, well, you've packed so much in, you've done all of this, there's so much you haven't explained, you know what I mean? And this is supposed to be the end film. Like, come on, guys, what are you playing at? But then I was sitting there thinking, well, no, actually, what they've done is they've cleverly played it where they've just told you the Skywalker saga has ended. And really, when you think about it properly, the Skywalker saga has ended. But there's so many spin-off stories to come off this film. They've really cleverly set it all up. I was like, okay.
Maybe, but I mean, like, I feel the Emperor story's now ended as well, though. So like,
yeah, but there's a good few books in there, or what cartoons or comics or whatever, to build that story back up, like to fill the blanks in.
Yeah,
that's how I think on it.
Well, I hope so, mate.
Yeah, they've set themselves up very well.
Maybe I just think like, I how many stories can you tell? I'd say the cultists so like building ships. Like, is that fun?
Well, it depends who's writing it, really.
Yeah. And if they go in a new direction, which it sounds like they're going to leave the story alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I thought that like it was a case of like JJ's come back. I think he wrote himself into a hole and it didn't help with Carrie Fisher's passing, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were like, and I thought that I think they've used the Palpatines to get out clause. Which I enjoyed. Still, it was a great movie. I said I enjoyed it, but there's just little bits of that like I thought were poorly executed. Like, and I think, like, I don't know, because it's not even in this book. Like, this book has all the in the Rise of Skywalker visualization, there's no explanation for why Palpatine's back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So loads of other stuff that missed in the movie is explained. Like that's one that's not, and I feel like maybe that's something that's not been thought of. Obviously, they will think of it now and probably will do some stories on it. I hope, and that movie makes sense. But I just think that I don't know. The line was funny. The line was jarring because he's like somehow Palpatine returned. It's like Poe's essentially saying what we're all thinking.
Yeah,
and it's just like, do you know what I mean? It's just a bit like, oh, come on, like at least say, well, the spy says they reckon he's back, but we're not too sure because obviously who says he is. But they'll always believe it straight away. Like, oh yeah, he's definitely back.
Yeah. What you really need is like a robot chicken version of it. You know? That's what you really need. That would just be brilliant, you know? Oh, well, I fell down the hole and, you know, I ended up in Mexico and, you know, it'll be hilarious.
But it's funny you'd be laughing, but that's pretty much what we've got now, mate. So, like, do you know what I mean? Like, at the moment, that is the story we know. He fell down the hole. He does... It's weird because he does say he died. Yeah, the Emperor does say in that open exchange with Kylo Ren, if I'm not mistaken, he does say that he did die.
And that immediately made me think, well, you know, did his essence then go into a clone in Exegol?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a clone because his body's fucked. He's got like no fingers. His hands are stitched together by the looks of it. Like, do you know what I mean? His face looks good. He looks like the Palpatine of old. To be fair, his face, but like the wrinkles on there and stuff. But although his eyes are very don't have any color. If you notice at the beginning.
Yeah, it's very much like
a ghoul.
Lord of the Rings type of thing.
Where, he's a bit like a ghoul.
Yeah, he's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he almost looks a bit like. His eyes look remind me of like speaking of Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, King Theoden, when he's under the influence of Saruman.
Yeah.
Before he comes back to like the light, a bit like that. So yeah, like so we've got that sort of the Emperor's back, and this is going to be the movie now. We're going to go and get the Emperor type of thing.
Yeah.
And we need to find a way to this planet. Exegol.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like, and then the action adventure starts in the movie, which again, I really love the action adventure feel of this movie.
Yeah, me too.
So obviously they're like, right, we need to find out. And obviously Rey has heard of Exegol before because she's been reading Luke's journals. Which again, I found this like really cool tie back Last Jedi with Luke's hut and all his journals and little trinkets he's got in there he's been collecting. Obviously she's brought them with her here. So she finds that he had been hunting for Exegol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a nice touch. You know what I mean? It was also nice to feel that although Luke Skywalker had shut himself off to the Force and like decided that he would retire and all the rest of it, he actually still hadn't really. He was still hunting.
He only retired like a few years before this trilogy. That makes sense. So like Kylo. I can't remember the timeline now. I'm trying to the timeline, but like I'd probably say up until like 6 to 7 years before the Force Awakens. I think Kylo's still with Luke.
Yeah,
so like,
sense. Yeah.
So Luke's only been hiding for like 5 to 6 years, I think.
Yeah.
So not that long. So again, another like 30 years before that, he's been hunting things down, trying to find them. So like I think actually like Rey quotes Luke Skywalker's diary. On the journal, and what he was trying to do was find a Wayfinder, get the Exegol, and bring an end to this conflict once and for all. So that's what he was trying to do, but obviously just couldn't find it. Never found it. And then he started training new Jedi, and then obviously the tragedy happened down the line.
Yeah.
So he was, and obviously if you play Battlefront 2, the story mode, obviously Luke's searching for things there. He finds a compass that he does use to find his way to Act 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it has been time where Luke was very, and obviously in The Force Awakens you've got Lars Antecker, who Kylo kills first in the opening scene. So he looks out as friend, and he's not a Jedi, but he like believes in the Force, of the Church of the Force.
Yeah.
And he loves like artifacts and stuff, knows the history. So like he journeys with Luke quite a bit, looking for cool things that can give him answers to the questions that have been forgotten since the fall of the Jedi.
Right.
And obviously he knows Ben. Ben knows Lord Santeca. And then I think there's a new comic out now, so it's issue 2's just come out. It's the Rise of Kylo Ren, but it's essentially the fall of Ben Solo.
All right. Okay.
And Lord Santeca, it shows you Luke, a young Ben in Lord Santeca, like on an adventure looking for something.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome. I'd recommend buying that comic. I'm waiting for it to come out collected, but like just what I've seen of, it looks so they meet the Knights of Ren in that comic.
All right. Yeah.
So obviously Kylo's not a knight. Kylo's Ben Solo. So these were the Knights of Ren were a thing like 20 odd years before.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 20, but like 20 years before, like, or maybe a bit short on that, but around that 15 to 20 years before this trilogy set, like they were a thing still.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it looks like they've got a leader who wears a mask and he has a lightsaber.
Ooh, nice.
So I don't know what happens, but I'm assuming they take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously down the line, Ben goes back to them and goes, "Oh, look, like we killed your leader, but now I'm bad, so I'm the new leader," type of thing. I'd imagine
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's just shall we dive into the Knights of Ren?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what were your thoughts on the Knights of Ren in the movie? Obviously, we finally get to see them.
I wanted more. That was my thought. I just wanted more. You know, I mean, they were pretty cool. They were sinister. They were in the background. You knew exactly what they were about as soon as you saw them, and they were pretty pretty cool. I just wanted more.
Yeah. Like, one of the things for me was like, I loved the way they looked. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really glad we got to see them. They looked awesome. I love the way they're like they tread like dirt into the Star Destroyers. You can imagine Hook's like blowing his top over that. Like, why are these here? They're not even part of the military and they're on board the ship and they're getting mud everywhere.
Yeah, a little bit of like Britain bounty hunters, then, you know.
Yeah, but like you can actually see the mud tracks on the floor and that, and they're like rolling in. But yeah, so these knights work for Kylo Ren. He's the leader.
Yeah.
So we know that Kylo had like a grueling trial, but he emerged and became the leader. We don't know what that is, but we might get it in that comic, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
So I don't think these guys are Force users. It's never implied that they are. I think they're very capable warriors and quite questionable morals. It's what they have going for them.
Yeah.
And Kylo uses them to hunt for the scavenger Rey. They also go and remake his mask with him.
Yeah, and the mask looked good. It looked really good with the red lines and everything in it. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, it says that they use the Agent Sith Forge to rebuild the mask.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think the mask looks great and it's really cool. But for me, I'm just a bit like, after watching the whole movie, I was a bit like, did he need to remake his mask? Like, he spends most time not wearing it. He always takes off when he can.
I think it's the symbolism of it, you know?
Well, I don't know if he's trying to trick people into thinking like, oh, he's like big bad again. Like, trying to trick the Emperor and not thinking his other motive is like help Rey and take him down. But it looks awesome. Obviously, we've talked before about the whole Kitsugi sort of Japanese way of repairing old trinkets and pots and pans and vases with sort of gold wells to remember the scars of the past.
Yeah.
Which again, I'll just give credit to Caitlin over at Sky Talkers podcast, because that's who I heard talk about it first, and that's where I learned that this is sort of the link type of thing.
All right.
So credit over there. Yeah. So again, I thought it was going to be a big part of the movie, actually, and obviously I found out it actually really wasn't.
Yeah, but
it looks awesome. It does look awesome, and I think that's basically it. I think he forges the mask. It looks cool. It's got the red welds on, which was also reminiscent of Maul. I think it's reminiscent like the black and red.
Definitely. Yeah, without shadow of a doubt. You know.
So that was quite cool. Obviously, like sort of hinting at sort of prequels there. But yeah, so he's got that sort of helmet resurrected. The Knights of Ren are helping them hunt down the scavenger. While this is happening, like he says, we're going to hunt down the scavenger, me and my knights, and you guys are going to stay on the ship, First Order, because you're not involved in the scavenger business.
Yeah.
So again, it's sort of say that like, again at this point, I feel Ben's not really that, or Kylo, sorry, is not really that bothered about the First Order.
Nah, it didn't seem like
He's
that.
like,
Did
I'm
it?
gonna leave here and go looking for the scavenger. I want Ray. I'm gonna go and get Ray. And take me
Yeah.
knights with us, and you guys just do whatever. During that point, obviously, Ray's in the book in Luke's journal. Luke says he was looking for a way to find out on Persona. So that's where they decide to go. The crew decide to go with her. Ray says I'll go alone.
Yeah.
The crew said they're going to go with her, and then
Yeah.
they go to Persona. And obviously, while Kylo says I'm going to start looking for the girl, they have a force bond. And Ray is very much talking to him, and then obviously Kylo's very clever here, where he keeps her talking enough to get close to her because he notices she's wearing something that she doesn't normally wear.
Yeah.
And then he manages to grab it off of her, and the force mission ends. But obviously, he's grabbed the beads that are from that world.
Yeah.
That the young girls put on her earlier, yeah. And then he gets those analysed and say, oh, yeah, they're from that planet. It's like that culture there.
Yeah.
So he's very clever there. He's able to like track her down quite like he spots something on her and goes, oh, I can get these here.
It was very cleverly done. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously it sets up for later. Obviously it's hinted in Last Jedi that obviously like when Kylo's talking to her in Last Jedi, obviously he has the water from the wave on his hand. And then obviously when they finally touch hands as well later on in that movie, it's hinted that they can interact with each other, and obviously here we actually see him take an item from her.
Yeah. And
which is obviously
the bond's getting stronger.
Yeah, and also setting up that like you can physically take something from the other person during the force bond is going to set up something big at the end of the movie. So like again, that it does make sense to us together. So although obviously before like there's some bits in the movie I think like they haven't given enough information, they haven't set this up right. There's lots of stuff in this movie where they do. So like right there and then obviously we'll talk about it when we get to it, but obviously that sets up the sort of the final scene of the movie, really the final battle. The fact that they can pass things between each other, it sets that up right there. So him and his knight set off to Persona. Ray's like, we need to leave, and that's when we first meet Lando Calrissian. He saves him. He shoots a First Order trooper with a bow and arrow or something, isn't it? A crossbow, an old-fashioned crossbow.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Yeah. So we meet Lando. Lando says, "Oh, I actually came here with Luke. I was with Luke when we were hunting down what was he? The Jedi killer.
Yeah.
The mercenary who the Sid. So I think he's like a Sid loyalist. Who they're looking for. I've forgotten his name now. Do you remember his name?
Nah, I don't.
So obviously they think the Wayfinder might be on Persona because Luke was tracking a sort of a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Who we find out is he is a Sid loyalist.
Yeah, he's obviously done a lot of work for the Sith, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like set a lot of things up. Maybe it's without realising, I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, so obviously so Luke and Lando went there looking for him, but they found his ship, but never found him.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what Lando he tells them in this meeting. And then obviously he sends them in the direction of the ship. And also like Ray's like, Leia needs pilots, and he's like, my flying days are done.
Yeah,
which is again a great line setting up later on.
Yeah,
and obviously he tells her to pass on his love to Leia, and then she goes, "You can do that yourself." So then they set off to find the ship. So I'm just trying to find out if I can find out his name.
I think you're close to it. I think it was Mossel or something like that, wasn't it? Was it Mossel or something?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm trying to find it out. Trying to think. Because basically what happens is that is he called Ochi? Ochi. He's called Ochi.
Yeah.
Ochi of Bestoon. Must be where he's from, Bestoon. So they try to find on the trail this guy called Ochi. Lando tells him like, "Oh yeah, we're hunting this guy, Ochi." So I was saying before, Acolytes of the Apocalypse. I think they're called Acolytes of the Beyond.
Acolytes of the Beyond. Okay.
That's what they're called. Aye.
Yeah. Which kind of leads towards the whole Exegol thing.
Yeah, so I think they've been like setting things up in Exegol for stuff.
Yeah.
So So Ochi's got an interesting thing. So obviously we learn of this guy who's like an assassin who works for the. Well, did he work with the Emperor? We don't know.
Again, another book, another story is
But
an integral link to a lot of things.
yeah, so like I don't mind Ochi. I think he's a really good link, and obviously the fact that his ship is the same ship that obviously Ray spots it. She's seen the ship before.
Yeah.
It's the ship that's flying off when her parents leave her.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they go to Ochi's ship looking for Ochi. Ochi's not there. He hasn't been there in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Lando says we chased Ochi halfway across the galaxy, where the trio went cold. Ochi disappeared into the desert, which is funny because he actually had disappeared into the actual desert.
Yeah, into the actual desert. Yeah,
yeah,
it was pretty literal.
yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously they fall in the desert as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's a cool speeder chase where these new speeders have tracks on them, and they flip up and fire the jet troopers, which I thought looked awesome.
That was amazing. That was absolutely brilliant. You know, you just want that to be like a ride in Disney World or something like that. You know what I mean? Where you just put on the back of the bike and then just flip over. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. So that was really cool. That whole chase was awesome. It looked awesome on film. Great little action sequence in the movie.
Yeah.
Again, breaking up all the information we're getting. Got this little chase. And then they end up sinking through. And then this is where we get the sort of our second look at force healing. So you wouldn't have seen our first look.
Which was what?
So that was an episode of The Mandalorian.
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah. So it was funny. So sort of the force, obviously, then these sinking sands, they fall through because after they destroy the people who are chasing them, their speeder blows up in the land, sort of in this bit of sand that sinks them through, like our main cast. So they sink through. And then once they get in these tunnels, it's obviously like a serpent's made these tunnels, and then they find the serpent. And Poe's like, I'll kill it, and then Ray's like, no, like, hang on a sec, because it's in pain. Which brings us back. It brought me back to Rebels, because obviously, like, obviously the Jedi can like sense animals and have a connection through the Force. They are living things, and it can use the Force to like communicate, type of thing, can get feelings from the animals. And obviously, as Ezra Bridger has a really good bond with the Force. It's almost his Force ability is that he can sort of commune and feel and pass on his feelings.
And it was really strong with Anakin Skywalker as well, if you remember Clone Wars. You know?
Yeah. No, definitely, yeah. So again, it tied into the animation side, which was really cool. I enjoyed this scene where he's like, no, I can feel that he's like, it's not angry, but it's hurting. And obviously, she slowly finds out that it's actually hurt.
Yeah.
And then she heals it using the Force, which is the first time I've seen it in a movie. But but like just last month, they had like in November, they've shown this happen in Mandalorian for the first time.
Aye.
So it goes to show for me, it's like they're probably like, oh well, let's introduce it here. Not everybody was seeing it, but let's introduce it here, so it's not an alien concept come the movie.
Yeah, maybe.
So one thing you have to be careful of, because like it's one thing like, oh, like a new Force power, or have they not done that before, type of thing. Obviously, you can be like, well, because this is a new movie and you've got to do something new and it's fun that way. But also, like the fact that have tied it in, that like they didn't go, well, it has been seen somewhere else now, like before the movie.
But it's also in the expanded universe as well. I can't remember what book it was in, but there was one Force user, and that was pretty much her only power. She was she healed people. You know, she influenced the midichlorians to, instead of being like a blood clot, to like actually then being skin. You know, So it had kind of had. I thought it was an ode back to that. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it would have been that as well. So it was cool, the fact that they've introduced it there, and obviously people have read it's referenced there as well.
Yeah.
It's like, here we go. It's a new idea, but it's not really that new.
Yeah, it's just what Disney do. They just take the ideas and just make them proper. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to that idea of like the Jedi, like, don't just kill everything and fight everything. Like, it's a case of like, there was a problem here, but look, like, we've helped this creature.
Yeah.
And it's solved that problem because the creature has just went away. It's been see you later, and it's just gone. Hasn't caused them any more problems. It's moved on.
Yeah.
And then that's when they find Ochi's body, his skeleton. And then this next bit, like I do find this a bit silly. So like I thought that, but obviously Ochi's blade, which is like a Sith dagger essentially, which has find this dagger, and it has a Sith encryption that C-3PO reads. He then says he can't say what it says because it's ancient Sith.
Yeah.
So it's a Sith dagger, it's ancient. So to me, that sets it up being at least a few hundred years old.
Yes.
Obviously, we're never really told how old it is or how new it is. But I mean, it's been there with his body for a while anyway.
Yeah.
And who knows where he got it from. So yeah, it's an ornament knife, and it's etched with like runic Sith symbols. Obviously, Ochi's not a Sith, but he's associated with the cultists who like longed for the Sith's return.
Yeah.
It's quite weird though, because I mean, just quickly about this, like these Sith cultists in the world are acting like the Sith have been gone for millennia, but it's like, well, no, like, because that's the thing, like the fact the Emperor was a Sith was secret. So the Emperor didn't go, I'm going to Sith Lord. He's like, no, I'm the Supreme Chancellor, who then got attacked by Jedi, who then had to be formed the Empire, and I'm like being really badly damaged, and I'm like, I don't really come out in public much anymore.
Yeah.
But like the fact he was a Sith was never like, he never broadcast that, it was still a secret. So I mean, again, so these Sith cults like, oh, I want the Sith to come back. I said, well, mate, the Sith were here 30 years ago, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't that long ago. Got the right take. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, obviously, and it's like another thing for me is like on this Sith world, like he's like I'm Palpatine, but like surely he would be Darth Sidious to these cultists. If they love the Sith that much, surely they'd refer to him by his Darth name.
Could be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he had so many different names, you know.
Yeah, but so this dagger, I just thought a problem with it. I really love the idea of a dagger, and it was very much like a Tomb Raider type movie, like Indiana Jones type feel.
Yeah.
So I love that the dagger had an inscription on it. It was like the key to finding the thing. But then, like, for me, the fact that the dagger, like later on in the movie, like matches up to like the Death Star ruins.
Yeah, it means it can't be ancient.
Or it's just a big hole in the writing. So for me, it was like this ancient dagger is like or predicted what was going to happen. But essentially, the dagger matched up the Death Star ruins to show where the Sith Wayfinder is. But like, if the dagger's that ancient, how does it know the Death Star was going to exist and then crash on that planet and fall the way it did? B, how did it know the Emperor would hide a Wayfinder in a certain part of the Death Star? Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like it's the major piece of this plot, because that's how she gets the Wayfinder to go to Exegol, and it's like, and it's like it's like flawed a bit.
It's another way. It's another from a certain point of view type of situation, isn't it? You know what I mean? Where they kind of got herself into a little bit of a, okay, well, how did you make Luke and Leia sisters when they've just snogged like sister and brother? Sorry, how do you know what I mean? How? But
they didn't know at that point they were brother and sister. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
it's been talked away, and I'm very interested.
But this dagger's like, I don't know how you explain it without saying it's like a modern dagger, and it's like, well, like, where's this modern Sith dagger come from?
Yeah, unless I don't know.
And it can't be
story to find out.
Yeah, and it's not that modern because it's like at least 20 years. You must be 20 years old at least. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it was just weird for me. I was a bit like, what dagger?
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit like, but again, I've took myself out and went, you know, we're in a fantasy movie, so it's a dagger that has facts that helps get our crew to where they need to be, and it does do that if you just look at it that way. I think it looks really cool. I like the way it looks. The design of it's brilliant.
I mean, it's obviously been planted. I mean, Emperor was on that Death Star when it died, so maybe I don't know. I'm stretching out here, but maybe he's mapped out the ruins of the Death Star, etched it on, made this knife, made it look ancient, etched his own runes on it, and then planted it somewhere, or got somebody else to plant it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm stretching at it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah. So we know things like, for him, why would you want the dagger out there for? Because for him, if someone else finds it, say if Luke had found it, Luke would have found him 20 years earlier and killed him.
Exactly.
If he was there, if he was alive again by then, because he might not be. Again, we don't know when the Emperor came back into being. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, because I mean, maybe he didn't die, but like, because this movie, the writing is a bit all over. For me, like, even though the Emperor says, "Oh, well, I died," like I'm taking this that he did die because he told us he died, But as we know with this movie, there's a few little things where it's like, maybe he just said that and he's actually not dead. Maybe he never did. But maybe he did, so we don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to dwell too much because it is a negative. Like I said, try to be positive about it.
Yeah,
like
I do think it's a kind of a certain point of view type situation where it's like, hold on, mate, the guy that actually killed your dad is your dad. You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Because I mean, Ochi's got like a really cool backstory where he was like a known associate of the Imperial advisor, Yubi Tashu.
Yeah.
So she's that weird woman, I think, the woman who, on Return of the Jedi, when you've got like the Emperor, you've got his guards, and you've got those like really ghoulish looking advisors.
Yeah.
So she's one of them. So this Ochi knew her.
Right.
I think it's a her. I'm just assuming that name is female, might not be, but knows that person. And obviously, Ochi was obsessed with ancient Sith like stuff. And that Tashu did allow him to like look at Sith texts and stuff. So yeah, there's like that side of which ties in really well. I mean, you got any thoughts on that before we move on, or?
Not really. Apart from what we've already said, I do think it's another point where there is either a comic or book or series of book that, you know what I mean. There's definitely another point there where it hasn't been explained out properly, and whether there's an expanded version of the film to come out that will explain it better or something, I don't know. But that's my thoughts on it. It just moved the film forward.
Well, I mean, for me, from what I've heard, is that I'm not sure. I think it's Ray Carson. So I don't know if you've ever read any of the novelizations of the current movies.
No, I've got one there to read, but I haven't actually read them yet.
So obviously they're canon, they're diving a lot more. Obviously, the deleted scenes are in there, and B, like, you get character insights from, like, obviously if you book, you can write about characters' thoughts. Well, obviously the movie you can't hear thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as the one comes out for this film, I'm buying it straight away.
So like Ray Carson's wrote it, and she said it's like there's a lot of stuff in there, and she, like, I can't remember what the quote was, but someone said like if the book was the movie, it would be like over 3 hours long.
Yeah. Isn't that coming out in March or something, isn't it?
It got pushed, so it was weird, but so keep an eye out for that. A lot of stuff got pushed for this, it's weird. So the Art of the Rise of Skywalker book was like due out for like just after the movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's been pushed till like for months away now. So I don't know if they're worried about things getting out or maybe worried about fan perception of things. But
I think it's going through a fine-tooth comb because you're really going to have to explain it to the minutest of detail, so there's no argument. You know what I mean? If you're finishing something off, then answers have to be given. You know?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Like,
I mean, continue, please.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking it's another point. I don't know whether we're going onto it later on, but Maz Katana for me isn't explained at all. You know what I mean?
We'll talk about Mars when we get to her because, like, I've got some not nice things to say about Mars, I'm afraid. But I mean, let's talk about obviously. They find this ship, OG ship's the best two legacy, and obviously Rhea remembers it from it's the one that took her parents away.
Yeah.
And if you watch the movie, one thing that does tie in is that it is the ship that flies away in our vision from The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So obviously what happens next, our main cast, have obviously got the dagger, C-3PO's read it.
Yeah.
But he can't say it. As Republic guidelines say, cannot read save out loud. So they go to Kijimi to see Droid Smith, who is going to fiddle with his brain and get him to say it.
My new all-time favourite Star Wars character, Babu Frick.
Yeah, well, we'll go here. First of all, we'll meet Zori Bliss, who, like, she's one of my favourite characters from this movie, actually.
Yeah.
And she's obviously like an old spice runner who runs with a crew. I don't know if they run spice anymore, but that's what they used to do. She runs spice. She used to run spice for Poe Dameron. We'll find out. Poe didn't want to go because he was scared of going because he knows that he ditched them at some point.
Yeah.
Although I get the feeling because of obviously she is quite like points a gun in his face and like calls a few names, but again she never really pulls that trigger and like they do become like back to being friendly pretty quickly.
Very quickly. Yeah.
So I'm assuming he didn't screw them too much. Like, do you know what I mean? I think he probably went, "Oh look, I need to go now," and they're like, "Well, don't." And he was like, "No, I need to." So I'm guessing they knew he was going.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, obviously, he meets them. On Kijimi, the first order's on Kijimi as well. Not because they're hunting these guys or anything, but just because I think the first order's got military might all over. It's the same with Persona, like there was a garrison there.
Yeah.
So obviously they do sort of have control of some of the galaxy now.
Mm-hmm.
After the events of the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So there's already troops here, and then obviously the Knights of... Oh, sorry, we've missed that out, actually. So the Knights of Ren are on... Let's go back to Persona, because we missed a big chunk out. So obviously, Kylo Ren grabs the beads off Rey, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
And then he finds out where she is, and then he goes there with the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, and then the catch up room, which isn't that where you see Rey do the jump and slice the...
So yeah, so Rey's there, and she can feel Kylo on the planet, because obviously he's a Force One. So she goes out to meet him, while they're trying to take off an OG ship to escape and get the Kijimi. Then what happens is Chewie goes out to find her, and he gets captured.
Yeah.
Because the Knights of Ren are on Persona, and they capture him.
Yeah. You know
what
what's
happens is-
really funny about that scene, though? You know, when she does the jump and slices the wing off.
Yeah.
For those who were in Chicago, the celebration with every time that jump got seen, the whole place just erupted in a cheer, and it was really cool. But when I was sitting in the cinema and watching that scene, I was totally expecting like a massive cheer as soon as she did the jump, and it just didn't happen. And I was just like, oh.
Well, I think it's because obviously it's in that trailer, so everyone's seen it. So as soon as we saw her stand in the desert, it's that scene from the trailer. So it's like everyone knew what was coming, because like this is the opening of the trailer in its entirety, which it was. But obviously, she jump slices the wing off. Obviously, Kylo's not shooting at her, which we discussed about the trailer, because again he wants to take her in himself. Slices the wing off. Kylo comes out. The transport takes off with Chewbacca in it, or so we believe. Finn shouts. He shouts, "We've got Chewie," so she uses the Force to pull it down.
Yeah.
Kylo uses the Force to put it his way, and then before you know it, some Force lightning jutters out.
Yeah.
Which is again hinting at Rey's parentage.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. For me, the scene, I thought like it's one of those things where like pulling ships out of the sky. I mean, it's a small ship, so I'm not too bothered. But like, if you ever played the Force Unleashed games, where like the main character Starkiller is like pulling Star Destroyers out of the sky.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
For me, like I find that just it's too crazy. Otherwise, like you wouldn't be able to kill these Jedi or Sith if that's what they can do.
Too powerful, too strong. Yeah.
Yeah, like it takes away the human side of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I don't see they're pulling ships out of the sky, but I was like, well, hang on, it is a small one. So I let it slide. It wasn't too bad, and obviously, like, she ends up firing. It's like a tug of war, and then she ends up firing like lightning at it by accident, and then she obviously screams Chewie. Ray. Daisy Ridley's acting is really good in this movie. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and she thinks she's killed Chewie, and then they quickly fuck off.
I know. I was just left there thinking.
So
where the hell does this film go now?
The run, they get an OG ship and they take off, and Kylo Ren sort of looking at what's just happened is sort of like, Palpatine's probably right in what he told us. But yeah, I mean, we'll dive into that later as well. Look, I've got something to say about the sort of parentage thing, but not right now. So yeah, so our heroes go from that point to Kijimi, where it's like, we've got to keep going, otherwise everything that we've done is been for nothing. So they go there to find, obviously, Sorry Bliss, who takes them to... I mean, for me, one thing Sorry Bliss says that, like, oh, like, you left us to join the Resistance.
Yeah.
But, like, it's been talked about in books in the run-up to The Force Awakens, so these are canon, that Poe Dameron was in the New Republic Navy, and he was recruited by Leia out of the New Republic Navy to join the Resistance.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really match up with her going, you left us here as a spice runner to join the Resistance.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't really, does it?
So I mean, maybe he just left. Maybe he left them spice running to then join the New Republic Navy, and then he joined the Resistance. So maybe it's as simple as that. But again, this is a little detail where like they've got a story group, and it's like pretty big now. Like I mean, there's at least like 5 or 6 people on this story group. Yeah, and like I just hope that these filmmakers are using them.
Yeah. Again, I'll go back to, I've got a feeling that there's either a spin-off film or a TV series there with Sorry Bliss.
Oh, I mean, I don't mind Sorry Bliss, but she's saying Poe's past was that, but we've got a book saying Poe's past wasn't that.
Yeah.
A book that we've been told is canon.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, could have been, exactly like you said, could have been a spice runner, and then he's ran off to be, changed his life around to be part of the New Republic, and then...
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those ones I was a bit like, well, like, because I know that because I know of his past.
Yeah.
And I only know it because they've given me a book and went, oh, look at this book. It's a tie-in book to the Journey to the Force Awakens. And it tells you Poe's past where, like, obviously his parents were in the rebellion and he lived on Yavin 4.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, why would he be a spy show now?
Exactly. Yeah.
But maybe he's just rebelling a bit in his youth. Like, do you know what I mean? He's like, in his like later teenage years, maybe. But
could be.
It's just, but it was just a bit like, it took us out of it a little bit. I was like, all right, well, that's not what I've been told in this book. But maybe that book didn't mention it, but not to dwell on it. But she takes into sort of say our guilds type of thing, our gang. We meet Babu Frick.
Yeah, Babu Frick.
Who everyone loves. And he says I can get the memory out of the droid pretty much, but it'll make the droid go blank. Blank. That's what he says. So it's going to reset 3PO's memory.
Which that hasn't been done before now, has it?
Yeah. But yeah, I think I was quite sad when it's going to reset because I think like all his original trilogy memories are in there and that. So it's a bit like, oh, you can't reset them.
Yeah.
But they do it. Sort of he has a dig at R2-D2's memory banks in. There's no way that I've lost my chain of thought there. What was I saying?
R2-D2, he's having a dig at R2-D2.
Yeah, see, there's no way that like he's got to his memory in his data banks, which obviously apparently that he does.
Yeah.
So the Akajimi, obviously the First Order there, the Knights of Ren have followed the guys there as well.
Yeah.
Followed the big crew there. And they're looking for them. So they've got to work fast. So they get the information out of C-3PO, tells them the information on the dagger. And then basically Star Destroyer comes out of orbit. Sorry, comes out of hyperspace and it's like in orbit of the planet. And then Rey can sense not just Ren, but can sense
Chewbacca. Yeah.
Chewbacca. She's like, Chewie's alive. I can feel him. He's up there.
Yeah.
So obviously Ren comes out on the surface looking for Rey. And Rey goes up to the ship.
Quite a clever little moment that was, especially when the Force bonded a little bit later on.
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting that in a second, but like, so one of these things that like, Zoibus has a First Order officer's data, like a medallion, which gets her access on any ship. Yeah. And she's been saving her whole life for it to get her off world. And then she pretty freely gives it up to Poe Dameron to use, which, I mean, again, I think these two obviously do have like a romantic past.
Yes.
Also, definitely. She obviously doesn't hate him that much because like this is what she's worked her whole life for, and it's going to help Poe get what he needs to get done.
Yeah.
And like and she gives it to him. And he doesn't want to take it, but she says, "No, you take that." So he takes it, and then that's how they get the ship onto the First Order Star Destroyer. And while that's happening, Kylo's coming out the surface looking for Rey. So Rey says, "I can sense the dagger. I'll go and get the dagger. You guys go and get Chewie." So sort of split up. So Rey goes and gets the dagger, and then Force Bond happens. Yeah, and it's pretty cool because they actually end up having a lightsaber battle.
That was just amazing for me. I just thought that was absolutely cool. A Force Bond lightsaber battle was just brilliant.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So one thing for me about this is that obviously like it isn't until like she slices through the Darth Vader vase that's holding the helmet up.
Yeah.
That he notices, that he sees that obviously that's where she is on the ship.
But
throughout the whole fight scene, she's holding the dagger.
Yeah.
That he knows is in his quarters. So it's just like, if you notice that, mate, oh, she's got the dagger, so she's definitely on the ship, mate. But I get it. They wanted to get the Vader helmet in there, so that's what they've done.
Yeah.
So they get the Vader helmet in there. He says he knows her parents. He says he's going to tell her, but he's not going to tell her. He's only going to tell her in person, and he's coming to get her. He's coming to get her now.
Yeah.
So what happens is she goes back to the that ship, and she gives 3PO Chewbacca's bandolier, crossbow, and the dagger.
Yeah.
And says and her staff as well, I think. And she says, go and find the guys. Obviously, get them off the ship because they can't come on this one now because obviously Kylo's pulling it at the hangar. Kylo pulls into the hangar. At this point, other guys have rescued Chewie, killed loads of troops in some really awesome scenes, and then Poe's been shot in the arm and they've been captured themselves. and Hook says he's going to kill himself, but then Hook reveals himself as the spy.
Weird, yeah, but I get it. You know.
I mean, I saw that coming as soon as it was Hook's with the troops next, and I was like, oh, he's killing these troops here. And then, like, he's going to be the spy because he hates Kylo Ren. And obviously, you find out that is the case. He doesn't want Kylo Ren to succeed. And that is the only reason why he's giving out information.
Exactly. It was pure selfish. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's another one as well. He's probably not tied into the Emperor's plan.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't give a shit about the Emperor. What he cares about is that, like, First Order is run by, like, us and we're going to be
I think even if he did know, he wouldn't give a shit. He was like a snaky little weasel. He's played really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. so he kills the troops, and then the guys get the Falcon
and
escape.
Yeah.
And obviously, Kylo Ren tells Rey. This is the thing that he tells her she's a Palpatine. Is that right? I'm trying to think now.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And she's like, "Oh wow, okay, yeah."
And then
make us a bad person.
Well, and then the Falcon pulls him outside the hangar, and she manages to jump and escape. So yeah, she manages to jump and escape.
Isn't this also where you first get? I'm not remembering it wrong, but isn't this where Finn first starts saying, "I can feel Rey," and you first start getting that he's force sensitive?
So he says in the desert when they fall through the thing.
That's right. Yes, yeah.
There's something I'm going to tell you, and then Poe's like, "Oh, something you're going to tell her." And I don't know if they're trying to like hint that it could be that he loves her in that when they're in the desert.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But then it's like, why would Poe care? Like, so it was weird. But obviously, like in that moment, he's talking about that. Yeah. It's hinted at a little bit here.
Yeah.
But not too much. Obviously, we get the big hint later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's sort of hinted at. So the guys managed to escape on the Millennium Falcon. Where they go to Kef Bir, which is a moon of Endor. I think it's an ocean moon of Endor. And that is where the daggers told them to go.
Yeah.
And this is where the Death Star ruins are. While there, they encounter a tribe of people led by Jana. And these are ex-First Order stormtroopers who did what Finn did, where they got told to kill some people and they refused because they didn't want him.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice touch.
Yeah. So, I mean, so they've been captured as kids and then put in this Brendel Hooks' like brainwashing training. And then obviously, but when it's come to it, they've not done the bad thing and they managed to escape. So they managed to fix the Falcon up with the parts from their ship they escaped on, and they live like a tribal life now, riding like livestock and using bow and arrows essentially.
Yeah,
I mean, like laser bows and stuff, but they're really cool. Yeah, and they sort of live off the land. So it's like the Arbak tribe they're called.
Yeah,
and they ride Arbaks. That's what those horses are called, Arbaks.
All right, cool.
They've got like the horns having, and they're very furry. So obviously John's like, "Oh well, are you resistance?" So like, yes. So all right, well, we didn't like the First Order. We were First Order, but we left. And Finn's like, "Oh," and then they know who Finn is. So it looks like Finn left before them.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah.
Or maybe they heard about Finn after. But it's weird because again, so it means they've only been here like a year because the events of do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's the timeline's a bit crazy, isn't it? But
yeah, I suppose so. So they look very well integrated for just being there a year.
Well, that's what I think, yeah. So it's like, or maybe they left first and then like heard about Finn after, but then who did they hear about Finn from? Do you know what I mean? If I haven't seen anyone, but
yeah,
who knows, mate? Again, I think it's a bit of like where they've had so much. There's so many pieces they've had to put together for this chapter. Like for me, I sometimes think like maybe they should have set it 5 years after, just 5. It's not too long. But it would have had time for like all this stuff to have happened naturally.
Yeah, gives it time to develop on. Yeah, I agree. I think again, it's another one of those. It's from a certain point of view type of situations. You know.
Yeah. No, definitely. So we're on this ocean moon of Endor, and Rey's matched the dagger up to the Death Star. She's like, "I need to go there."
Yeah.
John was like, "Well, I can take you there. We've got sea skiffs, so I can take you there, no problem. But the weather's very bad at the moment." So we'll do it later. But obviously, Rey's quite anxious because of what Kylo's told her. I think she's like, I know, I need to get this sorted now. It's very scary times.
Yeah, just get it done. Few waves ain't gonna bother me.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's a section of the battle station's equator is coming out of the sea, and it's rotten. It's eaten away by the salt water.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty awesome scene. Like, you have to admit, but it was really weird because it's been so hyped up all the way through, and that's what you've seen it. What's the word? The majesty of it was kind of lost because you knew it was coming. If you know what I mean. Yeah.
No, definitely, yeah. Yeah, so it's a bit like it's like I don't know. So like the planet's like somehow the planet survived the Death Star land on it as well, which was funny. But maybe it's like
shouldn't have. Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit of a miracle. The Force with a miracle way is like sort of leading like this wayfinder needs to be kept.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I'll obviously Rey sets up on our own because I'm just scared of what Kylo's told her, and goes off to the planet. And then obviously they can't find Rey, and that's when Finn uses the binoculars and sees her. Goes, "Oh, we need to go and get her now." John's like, "I'll go and get you." He tells Poe. Poe's like, "Well, no, like she didn't tell us she was going. She just chose to go.
Yeah.
Let's get the ship fixed and we'll go and get her." He's like, and then again, like Finn's like, "No, we're going to have her now." And again, it teases that sort of love angle that we're not going to get. But also like catching and like Poe's like, "I'm not Leia," and he's like, "Damn right, you're not." But it's like, I think Poe's right. Like, we came on this mission with her. We told her we're with her, and then she's just gone and done that without telling us.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to get the ship fixed up and get out of here and finish the mission. I kind of just abandon the ship because even if we go there and get her and come back, if the first order come, which they do come, it's a bit like the ship's not ready. Like, do you know what I mean? So like, I think Paul's right hand. Finn's been a bit of an arse, I think.
Aye.
So yeah. But I love when Rey's in the Death Star because it reminds us of like the Force Awakens when she's in the Star Destroyers, and like you can tell her whole life's like being like maybe
scavenging.
But like inside those Star Destroyers are big structures though, where it's like life and death, and if you make one wrong move or put your hand somewhere you shouldn't when you're climbing, like you're gonna die. This is very similar here, so it's very much like like she's been doing this her whole life. She knows she's alright. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
So Rey climbs herself. So I mean, like Rey's clues on the dagger like point to the remains of the Emperor's throne room, which is in the sort of lower tower. And we learn that the Emperor kept a vault for his captured Sith and Jedi relics as Rey climbs away through the debris. It's weird because obviously he has vaults and observatories all over the place, like they mentioned in the comics, the games. It's where Luke gets the compass in that game, like I said, which you then see in The Last Jedi. From one. The Emperor did arrange to have a lot of them destroyed upon his death. So obviously it's funny, he must carry this wayfinder around with him all the time, I'm guessing. So obviously like, this was the last place he was, technically, when he was alive.
Yeah.
So he took her with him there. But yeah, so like the wayfinder's in Death Star and she's looking for it and she finds the old throne room, which is very reminiscent of the original throne room, which is really cool. And a door opens into the vault. Rey goes in the vault, and she's met with she finds the wayfinder and she's met with like a Force vision, which it was weird because it reminded me of like the cave on Dagobah.
Yeah, and also when she got the lightsaber from Maz Kanata's castle. Yeah.
So obviously she has a vision sort of on Dagobah. Luke fights Vader, cuts his head off, and then like the mask inside the mask is Luke.
Yeah.
Where this like Rey finds the wayfinder is confronted by herself, but like a dark version of herself. She's got the double-ended red lightsaber.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like the wayfinder playing tricks on her. Because for me, the Death Star is like a mechanical creation. So like that cave on Dagobah is like strong with the Force, especially the dark side of the Force. But this is a mechanical creation. It's a room that's been like, so for me, it's a bit like why has that vision happened there? I mean, obviously, it is to show her, like, obviously she's had that meeting with Kylo and he's told her that she's a Palpatine. And this vision again just scares her even more.
Yeah. Just basically showing her if she takes the wrong path, that's what you could turn into.
Yeah. Or maybe Palpatine's actually like somehow connected to the Wayfinder and is like projecting that onto her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to show her this and it's really going to mess her up type of thing.
Could be. If you can get in contact with Kylo Ren, why can't you get in be doing the same thing to Ray.
Yeah. No, definitely. So Ray finds the Wayfinder. She battles herself, but gets out of it. And then she sort of comes out of the room into the back into the room, and Kylo's there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where sort of Kylo's like, yeah, like I knew. This is what I'm telling you. Like
Yeah.
you're part of the team type of thing. They end up having a fight. She's quite scared. They end up fighting on the surface of the Death Star with all the waves crashing around them, which looks really, really awesome.
It is such an awesome fight scene that, you know, it's very much on par of the Anakin and Ben Kenobi fight, I think. You know,
From Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not as synchronized. It's not as swishy as that is. It's not finesse, but like it's very. I found it similar like Return of the Jedi, where like it's on the same. Where like, it's Luke and Vader, and it's very powerful hits.
Just emotion,
emotion and powerful hits, and they're not necessarily the. Excuse me. Not necessarily the most trickiest of moves, but each hit's like a powerful blow, and you can feel the tension in every parry, in every slice. And eventually, as fight, something I really enjoyed was like essentially they tire themselves out.
Yeah.
Which I thought was some people complain about it, and I understand that. But like for me, I enjoyed that as like Ray's definitely emotionally drained, and now she's physically drained.
Yeah.
Also, you're fighting with these waves hitting you in the wind and the cold.
Exactly. Why? How wouldn't you tire yourself out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So I enjoy that aspect of it. Obviously, Kylo gets a bit tired as well. Then we cut to Agent Kloss, where you see Leia sort of drop her apparatus and walks away.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, at this point, it's obvious what she's doing.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, you have Maz Kanata go, Leia now knows what she must do. I'm like, you don't need to say that. You've just you've showed us instead of telling us. Like, we've seen Leia have a thought in the Force. It's obvious what she's done. And it's fighting Rey, and she's gone. And that, as soon as I saw her leave, she's gone, and she's going to do a Luke where she's going to present herself to Kylo. But then Maz says, again, sort of tells her what I've already learned, which sort of took the fun out of it, because it was a bit like, I wasn't 100% sure, but then when it would have happened, I would have been like, oh yeah, get in, I was right. Do you know what I mean? But like,
yeah.
But then she said it, it's a bit like, just dumbed it over your head, like, no, this is what's happening. I'm going to show you and tell you. It's like, well, no, do one or the other. You don't need to do both. So she goes and she reaches out to Ben, calls him Ben, and that's what shocks Ben. He's very surprised, and then obviously Rey gets the final hit on him, stabs him with his own lightsaber, which was a nice touch. I thought.
Surprised the hell to me. It really did surprise me. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah,
she gets him, and then obviously they both feel Leia pass away.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the last bit of our strength. I think was conjuring herself across the galaxy, a bit like what Luke did.
Yeah,
but she's obviously a lot frailler than Luke at this point. No, Luke was.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
Yeah, so she manages to get herself there and just speak to Ben. Goes back to the Last Jedi, where like the reason why Ben doesn't pull the trigger when he's hovering over when he's in front of the bridge is because he senses his mom senses him.
Yeah,
and he doesn't sense anger in his mom. His mom's obviously not happy with what he's done, but she's like
still love. Yeah,
love and just regret and like just again just come back.
Yeah,
like yes, there's things we have to deal with now, but like just come back. Like it's just come back. Like I was again, love you, and I just want you back, and wishing on this had happened.
Yeah,
and that's why he hesitates. Obviously, his big man takes her anyway, but that's they don't feel the Force. But so it goes back to that point where like Ben's always because he didn't feel it in his mom, it made him hesitate. So again, his mom's presented like, yeah, call him by his name, Ben. But again, he's probably felt like more love and kindness from his mom than resentment. So that's what stopped him in his tracks. And then obviously Rey's got him with the lightsaber. So again, that ties right back in the Last Jedi. It's the same thing where he's hesitated because his mom has presented him with positive and nice feelings, rather than the feelings you would get if you'd just killed her husband. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rey stabs him because it's just knackered, and it's like I don't know what's going to happen. So she stabs him. It's a pretty fatal shot, I would say, right through the gut.
Oh God, yeah.
So he's going to die. Obviously, they feel pass away into the Force.
Yeah.
Maybe not pass away into the Force, but they definitely feel that go, and it's not good. And that's when Rey's like quite upset of this whole sorry affair, and like it's not her doing, but like she decides to heal Ben.
Yeah, the
So
first of the Romeo and Juliet moments. Yeah.
Well, she heals him, and then obviously Ben in the past had said like, "You want to take my hand?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I did want to take it, but I wanted to take Ben's hand, not your hand, not Caloran's hand."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So she heals him, and then she runs off into Ben's tie whisper, which is landed on the surface of the Death Star, and she flies off to Exegol. Obviously, Ben crushed the second Wayfinder as well in that battle, which we've not mentioned. Yeah. So now the only one that's left is the original one Ben found at the beginning of the movie, which is in his TIE fighter.
That's right, yeah.
So she flies off to go to Exegol, or so we think. And then Ben ends up realizing that this girl's just like killed us, but then saved us and then left us. And me mum come to us and said she loved us.
Yeah. Things aren't so bad after all.
Well, and he doesn't like Palpatine. He wants to kill Palpatine. Do you know what I mean? So it's he's a bit like, do you know, it's maybe like, I don't want to be with Palpatine. I don't want to be a Civ because he never has. Do you know what I mean? So he's a bit like, she showed me compassion there. I haven't even given her the galaxy yet, so maybe I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
So it's a big realization for him. And obviously, like, conjures his dad's memory, like his memory of his dad.
Yeah, it was a nice little moment, that, you know.
I thought it was a nice moment, but like when I first seen it, I was like, "Oh God, don't make him a Force ghost," because you've hint. Well, exactly. But with this movie, I thought they've done things already that don't make sense. So I was like, don't go there, because then you've just like pissed all over like all your Jedi lore you've built for the past like 30 years. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
40 years even. So yeah, but obviously they hint that, you know, it was from his. Kylo says like, "You're from my memory." So I was quite relieved when he said that. When he says "you're a memory," and obviously it's the same lines Han pretty much delivered to him, like on the Starkiller base type of thing.
Yeah,
a little bit different from his memory, but yeah, and the same thing. Like, and I don't know. I know what I have to do, but I've got the strength to do it. And Han's like, anything, and then he chucks the lightsaber away, which is awesome. And then we cut to Rey. Rey's now on
Act 2.
Well, Act 2, yeah. She goes back to do what Luke did. She crashes the TIE fighter, sets it on fire, and she's throwing logs in it, and she to keep it burning. She can't get off the planet. And she goes to throw a lightsaber in to the fire, and Luke's ghost catches it.
Nice moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just say, like, at the beginning of the movie, she's trying to get the ghost. We've missed that as well. The movie's got so much stuff in it. You're right. It's so much to talk about. The beginning of the movie, she's trying to get the ghost to talk to her, I think, when she's meditating in the sky. Like in the air. But obviously not talking about here. Luke finally comes to chat to her, catches the lightsaber. And he says, a Jedi weapon deserves more respect, which I thought was quite a... Considering he threw his lightsaber away in the last one, the same lightsaber over his shoulder. I thought it was a bit of a dig at that, maybe, but yeah, the lightsaber deserves more respect. What are you doing? And then, like, Luke sort of implies that he knew she was a Palpatine,
didn't he? Yeah, he did. Like, he knew all along.
But then that scene last Jedi is like Rey from No One's No One. And she's like, "Oh, Rey from Jedi." Oh, well, maybe you are No One. He's like, "Who are you? Who are you?"
Yeah, but he said that when he had shut himself off from the Force. And then when he's put himself back onto the Force, maybe that's when he worked out who she actually was.
Yeah, you know? possibly, yeah. But obviously, he's like, because you're a Palpatine, you went, Leia knew as well, and like, that's not the point here.
Yeah.
So like, we're not worried because that's your lineage.
Exactly.
And gives her a pep talk. She's like, "I'm going to ship," and that's when he like lifts the X-wing out with the whole Yoda-esque movement, which I like. I like how it mirrored that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Red 5 is like obviously with his X-wing's crashed. So that was really cool. Obviously, she's like, "I'm going to go to Exegol and then this," and he's like, "That's what I was going to do. So you do it now." So I really like this ties into the Force Awakens with obviously she's like sitting on that porch, which is essentially the foot of the AT-AT that she lives in the Force Awakens, and like she's wearing the X-wing helmet and she's like dreaming of flying X-wings and stuff.
Yeah.
And then here she is. She's actually flying the X-wing that blew up the first Death Star. That's a famous X-wing. Do you know what I mean? Luke Skywalker's X-wing.
That's the X-wing.
Yeah, blew up the first Death Star. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so that was a really cool, magical moment for her as a person. And her character arc, so I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and obviously she flies Exegol, and then she also drops transponder readings or whatever they are on our radar Exegol, so that the Resistance can follow her.
Yeah, can track. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously the Resistance are back on the base, and obviously R2's like, "Oh, Red 5's communicating with us," and the 3PO's like, "What do you mean? Like Master Luke's dead?" But like, no, the ship's doing that. Another thing, R2D2 does reboot his memory,
Mm-hmm.
so he proves them wrong. I'm very reliable. I've got your memory in here.
Yeah.
So he's got his memory back. Now obviously they're like, "Oh," and that's when they're like, "Oh, it's Rey," and she's flying to Exegol helping us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when they come up with the plan of going Lando's there now as well.
Yeah.
And that's when Poe's like,
And
people will fight if we lead them.
he's got a rallying call type
Yeah,
thing.
some of them are still scared because no one answered about the crate, but it's like, no, like the people. So Chewbacca takes the Falcon with Lando, because they're like all war heroes, and the Falcon's like a symbol of hope.
Yeah.
And while we go to Exegol, and he'll meet us there with people who he finds, because there's basically Lando's the best chance of getting people to join them,
Yeah.
because people know of his exploits in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lando goes off to find help. The rest of the Resistance fleet flies to Exegol to take on the Sith fleet. They've got a plan. So basically, these are all that destroyed. Well, not all. All that designed destroyers. They've got new tech, but the designs are like older.
Yeah.
Super killer weapons. So essentially, the fleet goes there, and so the orbit of Exegol is kind of weird. So they need to be like sort of, I don't know, was it signaled off by that signal transponder thing? So the Star Destroyers are vulnerable until they get out of orbit, and once out of orbit, then you're going to have a hard time dealing with them. So they've got to deal with them before they leave the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the plan, is for Poe and the guys to go and destroy these before they take off. So there's the fleet, and then there's the ground team who are going to try and infiltrate and destroy the transponders that are helping the ships take off, helping the Sith fleet. So this is the Sith fleet. So it's like, again, a little bit confusing for me. So it's like this is the third. So you've got the First Order, and then you've got the Sith Eternal. So then you've got this Sith fleet. So, but obviously, like, also another thing is that Pride's killed Hux at this point as well, which we missed. Because he knew he was a spy, which I thought Hux. I was hoping Hux would get a better death, but because he's been one of the main baddies. So I mean, for this trilogy, but again, it's like
I thought it was justified, to be honest with you. I really did.
Sort of was, but it was just a bit like, but yeah. So he's been killed, and then Pride's like, I'm in control type of thing, and then Pride's gone to here. At this point, I think the Emperor knows Kylo Ren's deceived them as well.
Yeah.
So Pride's gone to help the Emperor here, running the fleet.
But Pride's pretty cool. I wish Pride had been in the original trilogy. He is such an awesome officer.
So he would have been around. He's passed as that he was around.
Yeah,
he did serve the Emperor in that war. So he was about. So Pride's obviously here running the show now for the Emperor, but it's a bit like, if you're here, and where's like the rest of the First Order, and like when are the First Order just going to join with this Sith Eternal, or are you going to be separate, or do you know what I mean? It's a bit like.
Never really got answered, did it?
No, not at all. So like it's a bit weird. Like so yeah, but obviously they've got these Star Destroyer fleet, and they've got these TIE daggers, which are like Sith TIE daggers.
Yeah.
Which look really cool. And they've got like red outlines on the wings, same as the Star Destroyers have red outlines.
Yeah.
But yeah. So essentially, Rey gets to Exegol.
Mm-hmm.
And Palpatine's like, "Oh, I didn't want to kill you. I wanted you to come here and live and kill me."
Yeah.
Again, I was a bit like, well, you've just been telling everyone the whole movie that you want that dead.
Yeah, but I mean, that's Emperor Palpatine, and he just fills everybody full of shit, you know?
But was he filling them full of shit? Like, why did he kill our parents? Like,
and again, there's
I think there's a big plot hole. Like, again, I think they've like wrote themselves into like for what they needed to happen. They've just made it happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's one of those things with Chris Terrio where, like, because he's the writer of the movie, Chris Terrio. So, like, he wrote Argo, which is a brilliantly written movie and brilliantly directed by Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also, like, he wrote Justice League, which, again, is full of the studio in a hole. And he came on and wrote it, and it's like, it's not all that awesome. Like, again, a lot of things happen because they need to, but it's like, has it happened organically? Do you know what I mean? Like,
there's a whole huge gap, like, that really needs it does need some kind of explaining, like, who are actually Rey's parents? How did Palpatine have kids? And when you think about the age of Rey, Palpatine should really, and if things happen normally, like you have a kid when you're 20s, and then you have your grandparent and Palpatine would have already been dead. Do you know what I mean?
No, so Palpatine, so Rey's 20.
Yeah.
So I don't know how old our dad is, but obviously our dad would be like
40-ish, 50, something like that.
So that would make sense. I think it would work all right. I think.
Yeah, would it?
I mean, he would still be the scarred emperor.
Aye.
So I don't know who he's conceived with, but like, do you know what I mean? But like,
that's the thing, you know.
But here's the thing: is that like, here's the thing for me is that like, so like, it wouldn't miss a generation. So surely Ree's son was mega powerful as well. So I mean, in this movie, you've said that Rey is powerful because of who our granddad is.
Yes, exactly. But then,
which I find like for me, I like the better when our parents are nobodies because like again, it's not about that. Like yeah, Luke's father ends up being Darth Vader, but like in the run up to it, like he is just a farmer.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like so, but here they've said like, oh, you're only powerful because of your granddad. But then like, well, if that's the case, then who's Rey? Why wasn't Rey's dad like using the Force all the time? Like
yeah. And it still comes down to my original thought when you saw Palpatine and the title Rise of the Skywalker. My first thought was, you're going to find out that Anakin Skywalker implanted in Shmi. You know what I mean? That's why there was no father. And like a whole clone esque type thing, which kind of played out a little bit at the beginning of this film. And I don't know if that's going to come into, if this story ever gets explained, if that's going to be kind of the same sort of situation for Rey's parents or one of Rey's parents. Or
well, I think instead it's the dad. It's the dad who's the biological son of Palpatine. So, I mean, again, like I don't know why you would. Like again, you've had them killed. You wanted to kill the girl, but they hid the girl. But now all of a sudden you want the girl to live. And to me, it's just a bit like, oh, well, when you need to fight him for some reason, so that's like, but like, do you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It's just a bit weird. Like, it's just a bit weird. So when I first watched the movie, there was a few things I had issues with, and like that's one of them. A lot of things I loved as well.
Yeah.
But like I've noticed that I've watched it 4 times now that like the things that I had issues with, like, don't go away in more viewings. Like it's down to the script. Like,
oh really?
Well, that's a script thing. So I mean, they've made him like I'm your granddad. And it's like, yeah, but you executed that like not well. Like, well, that's like the dagger. That's the script. So it's stuff like I think the movie's really fun. I enjoy it, and like the action, the adventure. It's like a swashbuckling like tale. It's really fun. I enjoy it. And when I watch that, eat all the popcorn, drink all the soda. I have a great time seeing and watching it. But when you dive deep down, there's a few things. Like I said, this is one of them. There's a few the daggers another. A few little things I do. I'm a bit like, what's that? And it's like, it's like still now. It's like, nah, like that. There are issues with how the movie's been executed. It's just one of those things, isn't it? I mean, you're never going to get like a perfect movie. Do you know what I mean? Well,
no,
very rarely to get a perfect movie. So it's not a perfect movie. It's still a great film. I enjoy it a lot, but those things like aren't going to. They're there, and it's because of a poor script. I think, but the script's not poor, but there's aspects of the script that are poor. If that makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean. It hasn't been thought out. Whereas the Star Wars universe is very. Well, it's not immediately thought out when they've done an idea, but it is. The more it's gone along, the more thought out it is.
I mean, George never really mega thought it out because obviously things change. But I understand things change. But like with this, it's like you've got a story group who you hire. Like they've got creative executive jobs with the company, and and I bet those guys, I've got big respect. They are doing their job. They are mapping things out. So I think with this, it's a case of JJ and Chris Terry-over and like. They've probably been given sort of a free rein because obviously they had a different director, a different writer, they've been fired. And these guys have been brought in. They went, well, we can end it, but we need to do it this way. And then obviously the companies went, yes. But I mean, let's just get back to the movie because we're getting a bit off topic. We'll talk about this after we review the whole movie. So, sort of raised on Exegol, Emperor tells her, like, I was never going to kill you. I just wanted you to hear so you can kill me and take me power. And the fleet started their attack on the Sith fleet, which includes TIE daggers and Star Destroyers. Also got these Sith troopers who we finally see, who've been like built up big in marketing, but actually are just troopers.
Yeah.
Which happens all the time. It happens every Star Wars movie, so it's all right. But
Exactly.
but so it turns out like all the officers on board these Star Destroyers, the pilots and the ships, the Sith troopers themselves are all like children of Exegol. So all those people you see, all the cloaked figures, there's quite a lot of them. They're obviously Sith cultists. So people who just love the Sith and believe in the Church of the Sith and that. And so these people are like the children of them. So essentially the Resistance Assault Force then starts fighting with the Sith Eternal Fleet. And Rey is sort of agrees. Palpatine says, "You need to kill me," and then he opens the top up, similar to Return of the Jedi when he looks out the window, and he's a bit like, "Look,
yeah, it was very, very.
if you don't kill me, you can stop the fleet because you'll control the fleet. But if you don't, like, all your friends are going to die." Similar to Luke, like, do you know what I mean?
It was the same line again. Classic Emperor Palpatine.
Which I'll go on a bit later as well, because that's something as well they didn't say quite right with this. But so you've got essentially Rey then says, obviously Kylo arrives on the planet. So first thing, he arrives in an Imperial TIE fighter from the Death Star ruins.
Yeah, that's right.
Imperial TIE fighters don't have hyperdrives. It's
No,
the big thing.
don't.
They don't have shields, don't have hyperdrives. Right. So like how he's got there, I've got no idea. Well, again, I think Chris Terrio needed him to get there. So he went there to give him a TIE fighter that gets him there. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like, and again, like, if you listen to the story group, they'll probably go, "Oh, well, just so you know, that TIE fighter, you can't do that, mate." But you got to think, if there was TIE fighter left there could have been like a Lambda class shuttle, which does have a hyperdrive. You could have put them in that and then problem solved. Do you know what I mean? But again, it's been a bit nitpicky, but like, I just think that it's just you had the easy fixes there. Like if the TIE fighter survived, a Lambda class shuttle could have survived, Imperial shuttle, which does have a hyperdrive, so you could just have it as like, you landed on Imperial shuttle. Do you know what I mean? You have the same effect, the same nostalgia.
Exactly.
But again, I just feel like the movie stuff has some like lazy writing piece in certain areas. Not the whole thing, but just little things like that.
Just little daft little things like that. Yeah.
And I'll go on a bit more, but so Kylo turns up. He's got a blaster, and he's running to find a Rey.
Yeah.
Jumps down the hole that he went down on the lift. That he went in the lift down earlier. Shoots some Sith Eternal guards and Sith Eternal troops, and then he comes face to face with the Knights of Ren, who he starts fighting. Holds his own quite well, but obviously they're armed to the teeth. He's not, and they do sort of defeat him a bit. And then obviously cuts to Rey, and Rey's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to kill you." But you can see that Rey can see Kylo, and Kylo can see him. And the Emperor's not aware of this Force dyad that they have at this time. Yeah. So Rey's like, pulls the lightsaber back, and he's like, "I'm going to slice you." And then obviously he pulls the hands forward. And and I love the looks in this scene between Rey. It's not between them because they're not in the same area, but you can see it cuts between their faces. And obviously they can see each other in the Force bond.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here." And she's like, "Right, this is going behind me back." And he's obviously like, I'll pull it. I'll use it. So she pulls the lightsaber forward to kill Palpatine, and obviously it's not there anymore. And he's pulled it out the Force bond, and he now has a lightsaber where does this little shrug, and he starts owning the Knights of Ren. Which I mean, against the Knights of Ren like serve him.
Yeah,
but now all of a sudden they don't. They serve the Emperor.
Again, storyline needs explaining.
But I mean, I don't think it can be. I think it's a case of Chris Terrio knew the Knights of Ren to be bad, so they're bad.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, but I mean, I'm glad he fought them. It was a cool fight. And obviously, you want some of the lightsaber, and then he comes to Rey's aid. Obviously, Rey ignites. We missed that bit out, but obviously, Luke told the story on Act 2 of how Leia did actually train to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
So according to this book, she trained for a year. And then she decided not to take it because she saw the death of her son at the end of it.
Yeah.
But she had a lightsaber that he then gives her, and Luke tells her to take both lightsabers to Exegol. So now she's got Leia's,
Mhm.
and Kylo Ren has the Legacy lightsaber, and Anakin's Luke's and Rey's lightsaber.
Yeah,
And then the face on the Emperor.
exactly. Yeah.
And that's when the Emperor realizes he sucks sort of some power out of them, and then he can feel that like they've got a force bond, and that starts to like sucks a bit out of him. And he's like, "Oh, you've got a force bond. I haven't felt this for generations." And then obviously his fingers sort of get remade. If you noticed, like he starts to regenerate his body a little bit because of it.
Yeah. That's what I was saying about. It reminded us a lot of Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Where he's like actually getting back to being a proper person.
Yeah.
You know?
So that was all right, but I think he zapped them down too quickly. Like, if that makes sense. Like again, he zapped them down because he needed to, because he needed to get the power. But like, it's a bit like what? Like, should he just put the lightsabers up and just like stop them? Like, they both know it's a dangerous guy, but that happens, and then obviously while that's happening, the fleet of like starting to take some hits. They thought they'd found the control panel, like the control beam, and the control station needed to blow up, but they've switched. The Imperials have, the Sith have switched it. So they've then attacked another one. The ground crew are starting to blow up the other one, and Poe's team are taking a beating.
Yeah,
and then also Pays. They're asking for help. The rest of the crew are asking Poe for like instruction, and he's sort of saying, "I'm sorry, guys, we've failed." But that's when you hear Lando come on the comms, and that's when.
And then you see that whole
the whole fleet, and it's absolutely brilliant. And then nothing is that like I didn't know they had a navy, sir. And then like the guy's like, no, it's not a navy, it's just people. That's what it is. It's not anybody who's like, no, we don't want to be slaves in the galaxy. We'll come on.
It's just the most ragtag.
So it's the biggest fleet ever. I think it's crazy how big it is. I wasn't expecting that big, but it's huge. Obviously, the Ghost is there, which I'm assuming is driven by either Harrison Syndulla or maybe Jason Syndulla.
Got to be one of the two, innit? No reason why.
Yeah, and I think there's some other ships in there, which it's hard to tell. I think the Colossus is there, and supposedly the Firebird from Resistance is there as well.
Yeah, I've been told that. Somebody's also said that the Outriders there, but I haven't seen it.
I didn't spot it. I'll have to go off that next time. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you freeze that frame, I think you can look forever and find loads of new ships every time you look.
Oh God, yeah. And there's so much in the shadows as well. Like you can think you've seen something, and it's not actually.
No, definitely. Also during this fight, obviously, like Snap Wexley, Poe's best friend, like meets his end. But the shot's really weird. So like for me, obviously in the Lego set, Snap comes with the A-wing. So Snap's mom flew an A-wing. So that's the link. And then obviously I'm pretty sure you see him get in the A-wing, or it's insinuated that he gets in the A-wing before they take off for the battle. But then when it cuts to the ship getting destroyed, when Poe Dameron's upset, it's an X. Well, it doesn't show him in it, but it shows the X-wing getting blown up. So it's like, is he in an A-wing? Is he in an X-wing? Is it him? Is it not him? I don't know. It's weird. Like, do you know what I mean? Again, it's a bit like just strange.
Yeah, I didn't like that. The timing of that really bothered me, to be honest with you, and I'll explain later on why, because I'm sure we're going to get back to it. But I didn't like that death at all.
Yeah. So I mean that's happened. Another thing is like obviously the Falcon comes up and like Wedge is in the gunner position, which is really cool. If that's the first time we'd seen Wedge back was like, oh, he's in the gunner position to find the Falcon. But like they've just done a whole book called Resistance Reborn, which is probably one of the best books they've ever done, tying in the Last Jedi to the Rise of Skywalker. What happens in between?
This is why I don't like the death. This is why I do not like the death. It is such a horrible moment to the book, because in that book, Snap then gets back with Wedge and his mom, and they have this nice family moment, bonding moment. You know what I mean? Before they all go off to, put the Resistance back together, and then they have Snap die about 5 seconds before Wedge turns up. Like, no,
exactly.
That was really bang out of water for me. I did not like.
Yeah,
that
it says to me that Chris Terry was not aware of that book. But and I'm not saying he should be, but I'm saying that like the story group would have been aware of that book. So again, like
somebody should have said
maybe they did. But I'm saying that like I think the story group are doing their jobs, but I'm thinking Chris Terry and JJ maybe like not utilizing the story group.
Quite possibly. I mean, it could be.
But if that's the case, why have them? Like, why pay them money? Like
exactly, and that. I hated that moment. I did not like that moment. It's probably the only moment in Star Wars that I've like actually went, you know what? I really do
Especially when
not
it's the
like
story
that.
of hope, and like it's absolutely like just really sad, isn't it? That it's just like
Like, yeah, like the bonded, they've rebonded, they've called each other father and son again, even though they're
yeah,
not. And like, his son dies 2 seconds before he turns up. Like,
yeah, and then he's not even
no.
aware of it because he's just like, oh, good flying, Lando.
I mean, I think
That's
that's the only reason they put him in the film, just to make that line.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. So it was a bit like weird, but
Mm.
but yeah. So essentially, we then get the Emperor then takes back control of the fight by firing lightning throughout the whole planet. Which again, I found
Yeah.
really like, oh, you've just been half dead, mate, the whole movie. Now you can fire lightning. Not just lightning. Not I don't understand zapping someone, but like we've never seen him be able to zap all the ships in space before. Like,
Yeah, exactly. If you can do that now, why
why
didn't
did
you
you
do
do the
that
Battle of
before?
Endor? I would have won. I would have had to go
Yeah.
and die and come back. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just a bit like,
Yeah.
what's he doing? Again, it's a case of like too powerful. Like Star Killer pulling Star Destroyers out of orbit. Tank Plan Services is like for me, he's too powerful. And again, it's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's not right or wrong. Like, do you know what I mean? I could be wrong, but that's just what I think. But like again, this is like he's affecting the whole of the ships in the orbit of that planet. He's affecting that with force lightning. It's like, well, if you're that good, and like maybe it's because he's drawing the energy from them too in the force style, but
But I
it's just like
don't know.
that's still too much. But then obviously Ray, and then he after he's done that, so he stops using the lightning, doesn't he? And then, but it's still working, and that's when he throws Kylo off Ben. Sorry, now throws Ben. He says, Just as I fell, you will fall. The last Skywalker will fall.
There's no way he should have come back from that. He got
Well,
flung,
yeah, I'm
man.
guessing he must like land on it. He must grab hold of something on the way down.
Yeah. I mean, wow, there was no argument with that
Yeah,
one.
so he obviously just like throws him off the thing. It's just left with him and Rey now. And that's when Rey ignites the two sabers.
Yeah.
And like uses the force grab to her, and he's just using them to block the lightning. Keeps walking towards him. The Emperor's like laughing at that, but then like blocks lightning back onto him and like makes him disintegrate.
Yeah.
Which again I was finding a bit like silly. Like when Mace Windu set the lightning on him, it just deformed his face. Didn't make his body disintegrate.
Yeah, but I think he wasn't properly fully formed with a proper body, and I think that's why it's allowed to go like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, so she uses the lightsabers to fire the Emperor's power back at him, and he dies. The Emperor dies, and then she collapses, and then she then we see sort of the fleet. Obviously, the lightning stops, so the fleet can now start destroying the Star Destroyers, which they start doing. Zoe Bliss and Boba Fett in the battle as well, by the way, in a modified Y-wing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then obviously Kylo climbs up out the hole. He's pretty knackered. I think he's got a broken leg, definitely, the way he's walking. They get away. He grabs her, and he then uses the force heal that we've already seen in the movie to sort of heal Rey. Which is a really cool moment, really powerful moment. Rey obviously looks at him and just smiles, and Kylo's smiling. First time I've seen him smile this whole thing. Like the whole, he almost looks a different person. Like it's really, I think it's really shows you just how good Adam Driver is. He's smiling and like
he's back.
They share a kiss. Then obviously she then realizes that I think he actually says Ben, and he's like he nods, doesn't he? Like I am Ben Solo, not Kylo Ren.
I'm back. Kylo's
and then he dies.
Yeah. Romeo and Juliet moment.
So and then obviously at that point the fleet.
I really was expecting her to take a vial of poison and then just do herself. I was just like, oh my god, are they going to stay alive? Are they going to die?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like he's obviously sacrificed himself for her.
Yeah.
For me, I feel the sacrifice was when he threw the lightsaber away. Like, I mean, I don't mind that they did. I don't mind that they did kill him, but it's like, do you need to kill him?
Yeah, I suppose it did really. If you're making the end of the Skywalker saga, he is technically a Skywalker. Yeah, he kind of did really.
But you know, not every story needs to end with death. Do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, right, for me, Kylo Ren, I find him like a victim of abuse. He's an abuse victim. So he was abused by. Well, he feels he was abused by his uncle. Like, whether he was or he wasn't. He was definitely abused by Snoke. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Definitely.
And then you just had him. You've just killed him. For me, it's a bit like, mate, like, did you need to kill him? I mean, for me, it works. He sacrificed himself to save someone he cared about. So that's a very heroic thing to do. So at least he died doing a heroic thing. And then you have sort of the fleet get taken down, and then obviously Rey gets off the planet in the X-wing.
Yeah.
Obviously lands back on Ajor Cross, or however you say it, Ajor Cross, and the sort of has a celebration. She has a really good hug with so again, we missed the point again. So during this, obviously, Finn was on the Falcon after he got saved, and he can feel Rey passing away, I think, before Kylo saves her.
Yeah.
And that's tying into that sort of the Force, like he's Force sensitive.
Yeah.
Which I just find, like, considering JJ did the first movie, he did not reference it one bit.
It was dead funny because he didn't reference it at all. But just the way John Boyega held the lightsaber kind of made me feel at that moment that he was actually, not that he was Force sensitive, but it just made me think, is this the way JJ wants to take the film?
But I mean, for me, like, they say in that thing, even in the time book where, like, it's mentioned that, like, obviously Finn's training melee combat from the First Order, so he's very, very good with weapons like that. So it's like, that's why he's good, efficient with the lightsaber. Like, anybody who's trained in that type of weaponry is the Knights of Ren probably are. Do you know what I mean? But not once.
Exactly. Well,
obviously the Force is more than just lightsabers. If that makes sense. So like, you've essentially, like, they've never ever for me set that up in storytelling that he was Force sensitive, and never referenced it in any books either. And we've had a lot of Finn stuff in books and comics over the last 5 years. So for me, it's just like, where's that come from? Yeah, like, it's just like, do you know what I mean? I think it's great, like, absolutely, to make a black person Force sensitive is absolutely brilliant. Like, do you know what I mean? It shows that again how diverse we've been as a company over at Lucasfilm. But again, it has to be like, you should have put these crumbs in from the beginning, hinting at it, and then obviously and again, like, for me, obviously you paint him out as Finn does quite heroic things, but it's like, why wasn't he training with Rey and Leia if he has the Force? And he says he knew because he said he wanted to tell her, didn't he, before? So he's not told that, and it's like, well, you've not told them. Like, they could have, the three of you might have been able to kill, like, the Emperor without Ben dying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Again,
yeah, I was just like, where's this come from? And it really made me think, well, there's gonna be a book or a story, or something. But you can
have a book or a story, Alan. You can have a book and a story, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he's not told her, and it's not you're keeping the secrets from her when he's meant to care for her a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not as if it's a secret that she would be disappointed with. She's probably like, all right, well, get in. That's another Jedi for her. We've got two now. Even more hope for the Resistance. Because you've seen how hesitant the Resistance are about the battle. They're a bit scared of it because they're not really feeling that much belief at the minute in themselves. But if I had, like, an extra Jedi with them, like, do you know what I mean? It's a bit like...
Yeah.
So I just think, again, I think that's like... Chris Terrio and JJ being like, oh, it's making me a Force user. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think there is a lot of things that they've thrown into the mix while they're busy cooking it up. You know what I mean? I got the feeling all the way through the film and stuff like that, but I wasn't surprised at it.
Yeah.
You know, I just wish it had been explained better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, like, they've got all this content that they say it's all canon. They've got so many different areas, tools to use to tie these things in, and they do with some stuff. But like with that, again, it's just like I would love to sit down with the story group and be like, were you aware before this movie got out that he was Force sensitive? And I would point to them saying, nope, he wasn't Force sensitive.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and maybe I'm the only person on the planet, I don't know, be interesting to find out, but for me personally, the way the film was set up, I went in there with my mindset thinking, right, okay, they're shutting everything down, they're closing all of these storylines off, you're going to get answers on everything, You know what I mean? Like, how did Maz get that lightsaber? Just daft things like that.
Well, let's
And
go back to
all I
Maz.
really got,
So I said before, Maz for me is just a useless character. She doesn't do anything. She's just there, saying. So sorry, guys. We've had our podcast cut off there. We're just gonna, so it's be a bit distracting when you listen to us, but we're gonna go straight back into Maz Kanata, what we're talking about.
yeah,
So for me, Maz Kanata, it's just like, apart from like obviously the first movie, she has a lightsaber, gives it a race, that's her on her journey. Has like go and see Luke, so that's important. But then like after that point, like she's absolutely like useless. Like she's with the Resistance here, doesn't really do anything.
she's massively underused. And even in the book, when you read in the book, she's like, "No, I don't want to do anything."
Yeah, it's like, so in Resistance 1, she doesn't want to get involved with the Resistance. Then like here we find that like in this movie she's with the Resistance, but like all she does is tell us things that were already insinuated. Like again, she's telling us things that have already shown us.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and she gives Chewie the medal at the end, but other than that, it's just like, did you need to be here? Like, you absolutely did not.
It's like you're giving words of wisdom, but you're not really. Yeah, like she seems to be set up like a she knows everything, but then you're not getting anything from her. You know
like,
what I mean?
And it's like she doesn't really do anything. Like she says, I've been here for like thousands of years now, and I help people out, but like you haven't actually helped Resistance at all much, really.
No.
Like not that we know of. So it's, do you know what I mean? It's a bit like I don't know. I feel like you've got like an actress with the capability of Lupita Nyong'o playing her, and it's just like just such a nothing character in this movie.
And again, like so much more.
It's
so much more.
It's a character that's like one of JJ's create, like from the first movie that he did.
Yeah.
And then again, he does nothing here with her, so it's just a bit like, what's going on?
Not that I wanted discredit or disrespect anything that was done in The Last Jedi, but I just get the kind of feeling that there should have been the continuity of the directors. Like JJ should have done all three.
Well, he didn't want to. That's the thing. I think he went, I just want to do the first one.
Yeah.
I don't want to get involved with all three. And obviously, they hired different directors, but like, I mean, even The Last Jedi, at least Rian Johnson uses that. Like, she gives them information about the Master Codebreaker, which helps them get on. So again, she's useful in that movie, although she's not there much. Like the bit when they do contact her, like she is useful.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, like, is she there just for the sake of having her there? Like,
just massively underused. You know what I mean? Massively underused.
Like, you could take her out of this film and it wouldn't change it. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, we then get the last scene of the movie, diving straight into that. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
We're obviously on Tatooine at the Lars homestead at the Moisture Farm.
Yeah.
And Rey's there and she buries the lightsabers, Luke's and Leia's, in the sand. Then a woman asks her, like, what's your name? She says Rey, and she says Rey who? And you see Luke and Leia in the background as Force Ghosts, sort of nodding at her. She says Ray Skywalker. And then we get the credits.
Yeah. I just really wanted that end to say like empty bottles of blue milk.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, so, I don't know.
But the Skywalker saga's ended, but then she's took the name Skywalker.
So yeah, like, do you know what I mean? It's quite like, so even though you've killed the Skywalker, as you were saying before, you killed Ben.
Yeah.
But then you've got another one now.
Instantly put another one straight in.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then he has a scary thing, like, not to read too much of it, but like, so Chris Terra's been doing a lot of talking recently. So he was saying the reason why I had that scene is because, like, what was it he said? He said Luke and Leia haven't been on Tatooine together, so we really want to have them on Tatooine together.
Yeah, but why? I mean,
but they have been though. If you watch Return of the Jedi, they're on Tatooine together.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like,
just like, don't talk, mate. If you got anything to say, don't talk, because you're just digging holes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just like, why do they need to be on Tatooine together? You know.
I mean, I back to Laura said she's buried the lightsabers, and then she's got her own new one, which is yellow, which is really beautiful. I like the fact it's yellow; it's different. I haven't seen it in the movie yet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Was it yellow or white? But it is yellow, isn't it?
It's yellow, yeah. And the handle's been made out of parts of her stuff, I think, which is really cool. I like that. Where did you get the crystals from? I don't know. But that'll be a story that we'll get. But I like the fact we're in Tatooine to bury the past.
Yeah.
So buried the two lightsabers. the place where like the Skywalkers lived. Obviously, Anakin lived there for a bit, and so did Luke. So it was a bit like that was cool to bury it there, sort of burying the Skywalkers. It's the end.
Yeah.
But then she takes the name, so it's like not really buried because you've just reinvented it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like the symbonology, I like the sort of symbology there, but it was a bit like, but then you call yourself a Skywalker, which I knew was coming, but like it's a bit like, does it make sense? Like, is it just a thing?
I think they just got lost in the romanticism of it all. You know?
Yeah.
What I mean?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think if you're gonna have a Skywalker surviving, why couldn't you have Ben with her?
Yeah. And somebody did actually, I can't remember who it was now, but I remember watching a YouTube video, and somebody actually was kind of suggesting that Ben was meant to live. Ben was actually meant to be on Tatooine with Rey. You know, so I don't know. I think a lot of things got changed in the end. I think they got lost in the romanticism. I think it's an awesome film. You know what I mean? Like halfway through the film, I was like, instead of like, seeing like, if me what, because I went to see it with my wife, and like, I usually asks a lot of questions through films, and like halfway through, I was just like at the screen, wasn't even paying attention to anything else till the end. I didn't, you lost all sense of time. It was a great film, but there is little plot holes in it, like you say, and it does spoil it a little bit.
Yeah, so for me, it's a really fun movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It's fast paced. It's got action. It's got adventure. It's got humor. It's got emotions. All that stuff's there. So I feel really connected to it.
Yeah,
it's a really fun movie. But again, there's just certain areas where I'm just like, and again, it's like I've seen it 4 times now. And the things that I have problems with don't go away. It's because like it's right there in the script, and that's not going to change.
And that's a shame. That's a big shame.
So for me, a question for you: I've got. Do you feel this movie is a good close to the sequel trilogy?
I think it's close. And the reason I say that is because I think, in one sense, they've shut the Skywalker story off. I'm
not asking you for the saga. I'm asking for the sequel trilogy. And then the saga asks me second. So it's a two-point question I'm asking you. Do you think this movie is a good close to the sequel trilogy? Second question, do you feel this movie is a good close to the 9-movie saga?
Yes, to the first one. I do think it is a good close to the sequel trilogy. And I don't know how to answer. I really don't know how to answer the second part of the question, because I don't feel that it is closed. But
so this is I'm the same. So I think it's a good close to this trilogy. But I think as it close to the saga, like no, for starters, Palpatine's come back and then he's made the exact same mistakes again. So he's underestimated the Last Jedi. So it was Luke he underestimated the first time, and Vader. Then he's underestimated like love for each other, and then he's underestimated Ben Solo and Rey the exact same way. It's like, has he not learned? Do you know what I mean? So you brought him back, and then he's just exactly the same as he was. So it's like, do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, again, like, doesn't make much sense. Do you know what I mean? So like, and like, I've read some people saying it's like, it sort of makes this the Palpatine saga, not the Skywalker saga.
It kind of sort of does, but then I think Palpatine,
which is horrible. That's a really bad idea, because Star Wars is about hope, not about evil. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of switches through all of them, really. I mean, when you had just the first 3 films, it was about Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia. Then you had the prequel films, and then all of a sudden the whole thing's actually about Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker. Now you've got the sequel films, and now all of a sudden it's about something else. And I do get it, and they changed them, but it's not like they haven't changed it before. So
I don't mind them changing it, but you've changed this thing. You branded it as a company, the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then all this, because of the decisions you made, Star Wars here, like really, it's like the Palpatine saga.
And I think that's why I can't answer the second question.
So when kids look back at it, so if I've got a kid and say he or she watches all 9 movies, like in 20 years' time, right? they'll turn around and go, "Oh, so like it's about that the Emperor dude, isn't it?"
Yeah, it's like when we first
And
watched the
that's
first
wrong.
three
I think
films.
that's
Yeah.
wrong. Like it shouldn't. It's not about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. You know what I mean? And it's such a sad way of looking at it that way, because that child will then have lost, what we had. You know what I mean? Like, but then again, they're looking at it completely. I don't know. Like, I don't think the Skywalker saga as such is finished. I don't think it ever will be, because Palpatine is running the strings, and I think there's way more books and there's way more spin-off films or TV series or whatnot that spin off from the Skywalker saga. I think saying that the Skywalker saga is finished is completely the wrong thing to say. I think saying maybe, look, we're going to do stories that don't involve Skywalkers, but to say the saga's finished, no, I don't buy it.
Well, this is. I think they should never have come out and said it.
Yeah.
Even if it was, they shouldn't have labelled it as that, because I think that they've come out and said that and put themselves in the hole where JJ and Chris Terrio had to bring the Emperor back and do everything that they've done and do these things that I've said that aren't good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think if they don't put themselves in that hole by claiming that it's the end of the saga, then you don't have those issues. It can be more organic. But they've put themselves in a box, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's really strange, because the first film, like A New Hope, when you watch A New Hope originally, the original screening of it, it's very much its own film. Yes, George Lucas did have plans to do other films, but that film is enclosed in itself. And you could see when they did the expanded versions and all the rest of it, they spent so long to get outside of that box to make all of this, that you are right to put yourself back in that box in the last film was completely the wrong thing to do.
And let's just say, like, for example, Daisy Ridley's come out and spoken out and said, like, there's no work at the minute. She's got no work. Because she hasn't, like, Adam Driver, for example, is, like, busy releasing, like, 4 movies a year.
Yeah.
Like, he's so Daisy's not doing that. So, like, obviously she's saying she's done, but it's like, you're done, but, like, if there's no work and they come back, you're going to go back to work. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, because she's now called Rise Skywalker, if you do a movie, say, in 5 years' time, and it's her and Finn with the Jedi school.
Yeah, exactly.
But and because she's a Skywalker, it's a Skywalker movie.
Yeah, exactly. And are you going to have another situation where Ben Kenobi, like Ewan McGregor? Oh, I hate Star Wars. Oh, but actually, I'm busy reading through the scripts for Star Wars TV series.
I don't
news.
I don't think he ever said he hated Star Wars.
Yeah, but I mean that's a bit strong. Yes, okay, I take that back.
I think what he said was what he's always said was that he would come back, but he not being asked.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a bit strong, and I do take that back.
Well, no. So what he said was it got to a point where the past few years they've been asked, and he's had to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So what he said is that he hated lying.
Yeah.
Doesn't hate Star Wars. So don't. So he said he hated lying, but he had to lie because he couldn't say he was talking about it.
Yeah.
But he was in talks with Lucasfilm to do this show. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what I'm getting at. I think that's
that's
what I'm saying. Are we going to have another situation like that? I don't know. I don't know where it goes, but I don't think the Skywalker saga has ended. I really don't. Yeah. In my mind,
No, definitely. Any closing thoughts about the movie, Alan?
I think we've covered everything that needed to be covered, really. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to think about and so much to do. I probably do have more closing thoughts, but nothing comes to my mind right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll do like once it's finished, it's theatrical run in cinemas. Yeah. I think we'll come back. We'll definitely do another like recap on the sort of the fallout of the final movie and the end of the trilogy and the end of the saga. And I think Lucasfilm will announce what the next film is before the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't, and they'll announce a director as well, which they shouldn't. They should hire these people, get these things started, but you don't need to tell the public because you dig holes yourself later on. So I think we'll know the direction of the next movies before the end of the month. So,
do you think?
Yes, I do. I think by the time February rolls around, we will know what the next movie is roughly about, like timeline and wise and that, and we'll know who's attached to direct it.
Yeah.
Whether those people stay directing it and whether that idea stays the same or not, I don't know. But I think we'll know that, and it'll be interesting to see how different it is from where we are with this one. I mean, I'm just going to say now, I think it's going to be set like long in the past. It's going to be set. It's going to be set in the old Republic days, I think.
That seems to be sort of, when you're hearing rumors and things, a lot of rumors are pointing that way. So yeah, could be. I don't know. I'm just looking forward to actually getting Disney Plus and sitting down and watching Mandalorian. That's my next one.
Definitely, and obviously Clone Wars is back February as well. So by the time you get it in March, you'll be able to watch Mandalorian and New Clone Wars.
Exactly. So yeah, nope. Star Wars is definitely not dead. It's alive and kicking.
It certainly is. Yeah, we're getting some really good content. I would say that Kylo Ren comic is absolutely. I can't wait to buy it. It sounds absolutely awesome. The Rise of Kylo Ren, obviously, the Resistance Reborn, the book they've just released. I think it's one of the best Star Wars books they've done. There's no reason this movie where like that book ties in so well to this movie, and like they've just not referenced the book at all. So again, like you've just produced the best book you've produced in the new canon, and it matches well with this movie. Then you've not utilized it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that book's awesome. The comic's awesome. Obviously, Mandalorian season 2 is coming next year. Well, not next year, this year. Sorry, Mandalorian season 2. Obviously, Clone Wars season 7. So there's lots of Star Wars on the horizon. So the saga may have ended, but more Star Wars is going to come, and like I can't wait to experience it all. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I need a little bit of a break for now, just to chill and just take a breath. But yeah, I am looking forward to Mandalorian coming out.
Yeah. So just a quick thing. So my top 3 things in this movie, my favorite 3 things about The Rise of Skywalker was Ben Solo's redemption. I thought it was done really well.
Yeah.
And I thought Adam Driver was brilliant at acting. I love C-3PO and how integral he was to the movie and how funny he was and heartwarming he was. That was great. And I love our new characters we're introduced to. Obviously, I love Babu Frick and I do love Zoe Bliss. I want to see more from them going forward. So those are my favourite parts of the movie.
Yeah, I think there'll be an awesome TV series in Zoe Bliss. I really do.
I mean, Kerry Russell's got a TV background. That's who plays Zoe. So I'll be up for that, definitely.
Yeah, I think there's an awesome TV. There really is like an awesome smuggler type TV program going on there. So I reckon,
Yeah, definitely. Well, Alan, thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Just for any listeners out there, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter is @BorsStar. Instagram is @StarWarsPodcast. And you can also email in to our email address, which is starwarspodcast@gmail.com. Alan is not on social media because he doesn't want the government to fine him. But I am, because I just love attention. So I am on Instagram and on Twitter @PeteHitmanHart. Same as Bret Hart. He's my favourite wrestler. So yeah, you can find us all on there. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Go back to some other episodes. There's a lot more episodes coming. A lot of Star Wars coming this year, as was said. So we're going to try and do even more episodes going forward this year. And there's going to be some giveaways coming up if you're listening, guys. So stay tuned to social media and the episodes that we're going to give away some Black Series Star Wars figures. We're going to give away some Star Wars pin badges. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled to our social media, and we'll show you how you can win those. Adam, thanks for joining us.
No problems, Peter. Anytime.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. And listeners, thanks for listening. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. See ya. Bye.